You became an entrepreneur like soon after 12th standard.
Yeah, nobody gives me a job is what I say. So I have to, create my own. And 6,000 rupees was amazing, yeah, because life set hai, bro. खर्चे है ही क्या मतलब beer was 28 rupees back then. So it was
Inflation anchor was very clear that beer was 28 rupees.
And idea for Pee Buddy was just born on a road trip, on a trip, and I thought I would love to do it. आज अगर मैं कुछ शुरू करूँ तो I have 20 years of doing things the wrong way behind me. Correct. To know what is the right way. एक चीज़ है to just be able to sell 2 रुपए की चीज़ 3 रुपए में 1 रुपया कमाना. एक है 1000 करोड़ की कंपनी बनाना. वो अलग-अलग पार्ट्स हैं.
Correct. The first thing an investor looks at is market कितना बड़ा है.
Correct सही कह रहे हो.
आपके केस में was that something that happened?
Of course, and that's why we're the least funded.
I don't want cutter. Yeah, hold your thought. We started the BarberShop in 22 July or so. This is now our 4th season, right? 3 to 4 episodes per month. So our मान के चलो now we are 100 episodes in after.
Wow.
I think very interesting the way, because I did not know this about you. We met multiple times socially, and we every time we talk, it's mostly about our businesses.
Correct.
But you have had the build up to Pee Buddy and Sirona was a unique one, right? It's not like you left a job and then raised some money and started the company, right? Which is what a lot of D2C, like if you look at Aman or me or Varun or you or Mohit, all of us, the rest of us were kind of people who had jobs, had an idea, left the job, raised some money and started. But for you, you have been an entrepreneur long before Sirona and Pee Buddy. So talk about that. You became an entrepreneur like soon after 12th standard.
Yeah, nobody gives me a job is what I say. So I have to, create my own. वो logic है. Higher. So it wasn't like I wouldn't say that I was born to be in business. I don't think it was ever a planned thing. I think one thing led to another, and I just made the most of whatever came my way. In short, so it started with 12th, of course. 12th खत्म किया. So इतने
and you're a Delhi boy. You're a
Delhi boy. इतने marks नहीं आए कि I will make it to a tier in Delhi college. 80% के आसपास marks थे. So भगत सिंह के evening में they said evening में दे देंगे. And he said evening नहीं करूँगा.
Evening में मतलब evening
Evening
course.
college.
हाँ.
There's evening college. So I said नहीं यार वो नहीं करूँगा मैं. So then एक ना I looked at an ad in the paper. I thought जब तक ये clear हो रहा है कि what am I going to do, I'd pick up a job. I'll make some money. There was a desire to be financially independent, which was far more, which was burning because of having, I would say, better off cousins. You'd seen video games and Nintendos and all that, which you didn't have, but they had. So अगर पैसा मिल जाए तो life sorted हो जाएगी. So I thought कुछ करता हूँ. Let me just try to create something of my own, at least financial inflow of my own.
But that very early on, बहुत छोटे थे आप तब.
12th खत्म ही हुआ था अभी. So that's where it was. So while this college thing was getting sorted, I saw an ad in the newspaper. छोटा सा ad था, जो I remember. Classifieds. It was classified, which said sales executives, 6,000 rupees salary, or E is equal to MC Square was the name of the firm. MC Square was a DSA, and they wanted sales executives. So I showed up.
DSA क्या है?
DSA होता है यार, पहले क्या होता था कि जब आपको सामान बेचने होते थे तो डायरेक्ट सेलिंग एजेंट्स, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग टीम्स होती हैं. याद है कॉल सेंटर, अभी भी जो आपको फोन आते हैं.
Correct.
कि आप इंश्योरेंस ले लो या बैंक का कोई भी प्रोडक्ट ले लो. सो इट्स आउटसोर्स्ड. दे से दैट आई एम कॉलिंग फ्रॉम सो एंड सो बैंक, बट वी नो बैंक के एम्प्लॉइज नहीं है, वो किसी को एजेंसी चला रहे हैं. तो वैसे एजेंसी थी, एंड दे वर सेलिंग ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज फॉर अ कंपनी कॉल eGurukul.com. तो उनको लोग चाहिए थे जो डोर टू डोर जाके वो कोर्सेज बेच पाएंगे. और आई वाज लाइक करके देखता हूँ, दिस इज नो हार्म, राइट? सो आई टुक दैट अप, एंड 6,000 रुपीज वाज अमेजिंग यार, बिकॉज लाइफ सेट है ब्रो. बाइक आ जाएगी EMI पे.
ये 2001 की बात.
2001 की बात है.
6,000 रुपये बहुत है
बॉस. और सो मेरा लॉजिक ये था कि एक तो इंडिपेंडेंट हो जाऊंगा, एंड खर्चे है ही क्या मतलब beer was 28 rupees back then. So it was great. It was a lot of cases.
The inflation anchor was very clear that beer was 28 rupees.
So I took that up just to figure. I didn't know what sales was. I didn't know what it'll be. So they gave me a little spiel, which then became my first tryst with सेल्स पिच किसे कहते हैं, राइट? सो उन्होंने एक स्पील दिया, वो स्पील आई वुड जस्ट गो आउट एंड ब्लर्ट इट, एंड आई वाज एबल टू एक्सप्लेन द प्रोडक्ट. डायल अप होता था, वो MTNL की तार निकल के कंप्यूटर में जाती थी, एंड दैट्स हाउ you'd go online, and there were parents who were willing to take this for their kids. So from there, tryst with getting money and being able to make your decision started. So 6,000, we could only do that much. That company then became the DSA for another insurance company. Insurance company saw my work and they said, why don't you come and help? You work with us only directly. So first time I went on their payrolls, 28,000. What a jump it was, just
At 20, huh?
I would say from 6 to 20. It's not about at 20.
No, but
the
at
jump
the age of
was
20.
at the age of 19, 20, yes. But the point is, from where I came from, that was buckets loads of money. So, so 28,000 was the salary. And they said that, why don't you set our bank assurance model? Not set, they had set the bank assurance model, but now that you've sold online packages, you can also sell insurance. Same thing, they gave me a spiel, I stuck with the spiel. Had no idea about actuarial studies or whatever. उन्होंने सिखाया, this is how you arrive at the life value of a person, and this is the insurance that the person should have, these are the tax benefits. अपने खुद के taxes file नहीं करता था मैं, but I had to tell person how it was. तो वो किया, and then I think from there the entrepreneurial bug bit me, because the guy who used to run this DSA, KT, was a fairly dynamic guy, and I loved the way he was able to meet people and see beyond that transaction. Like every meeting that he would go to, he would walk out with 5 more things, right? And I was inspired. He was 8 years ahead in life back then. So he told me that, hey, खुद का कुछ करेगा? I said, हाँ, why not? अभी इंश्योरेंस बेच रहा हूँ, कुछ अच्छा ही बता दो, आप कुछ और कर लूँगा. So from there, his friend was with a general insurance company, तो उसने मुझे DSA बना दिया to sell insurance. And back then आप अपनी कार इंश्योरेंस आज तो आप ऑनलाइन ले लेते हो, बट बैक देन आपको कॉल्स ही आते थे, और उन कॉल्स पे वो आपके घर से आके चेक ले जाता था, आपका इंश्योरेंस रिन्यू हो जाता था. तो आई स्टार्टेड विद टू सीट कॉल सेंटर डोमेस्टिक. शिवाली के अंदर बेसमेंट में एक छोटा सा कॉल सेंटर लिया, 2 लोगों से शुरू किया. स्पील आती थी तो वो पिच की तैयार कि यार ये ओपनिंग है, ये क्लोजिंग है, आपको ये इन्फॉर्मेशन पता है कि लास्ट इंश्योरेंस ये है, इस साल का इंश्योरेंस ये है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स वी वर ग्रेट बिकॉज वी वर प्रोटोकॉल सर्विसेज, वी फॉलो ऑल द प्रोटोकॉल्स. So that two seats became 6, 7, 8. That's how the first tryst with entrepreneurship happened. 1-1.5 साल वो चलाया. Then I realized कि this can't be life, because अब क्या हुआ था कि graduation, then I moved to correspondence. तो पढ़ाई कोई इतना खास हो नहीं रही थी. And I think somewhere I realized that while I was getting more and more financially prudent, I was going the route of, I think personally I was not too happy with the lifestyle that I had started to have, right? हफ्ते में 3 दिन पार्टी शुरू हो गई.
But 22-23 साल के तो थे आप यार, ये तो होती है लाइफ.
Yeah, but एक I think वो ये था ना,
Seriously.
grass is always greener on the other side. So what I was seeing back then was, this I'm doing, and it is, and I'm running it, but I'm learning everything on the go. Correct? So there was nobody you were learning from, right? So
मेंटरशिप का एक void.
मेंटरशिप समझ लो, या एक फॉर्मेट भी है यार. जैसे आज अगर मैं कुछ शुरू करूं तो आई हैव 20 years ऑफ डूइंग थिंग्स द रॉन्ग वे बिहाइंड मी,
Correct.
टू नो व्हाट इज द राइट वे. Correct? So what I saw was that and I was becoming somebody who was expected to have all the answers, and I didn't have the answers. So तो थोड़ा ब्रेक लेना पड़ेगा कि अब अगर इसको, एक चीज़ है टू जस्ट बी एबल टू सेल 2 रुपए की चीज़ 3 रुपए में 1 रुपया कमाना, एक है 1000 करोड़ की कंपनी बनाना. बहुत अलग अलग पाथ्स हैं यार.
Correct.
एंड दैट कांट हैपन इफ आई एम नॉट इन्वेस्टिंग इन माई सेल्फ, इफ आई एम नॉट लर्निंग. तो वो वॉइड क्लियर दिखना शुरू हो गया था मुझे कि यार ये ऐसा नहीं कर पाऊंगा. आई नीड टू टेक अ ब्रेक एंड सी इफ आई वांट टू डू दिस. What started as a hobby, part-time job मिल जाए कहीं पे कि यार जब तक कॉलेज नहीं हो रहा है, it became a full-time thing for me, right?
Yeah.
So took a break and then went to Australia to do my master's, and I did my graduation on the side. फिर आके one thing led to another.
You came back and you were in events, and then you went into carpets, because
Events
again
and carpets, correct. So one thing has led to another. It's serendipity. I'm a huge believer in it, I think. Or you can say it's only in hindsight that you can join the dots. So my life has, I can join the dots looking backwards, like the great Steve Jobs says. But it wasn't ever planned like this. यार पहले या तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया से वापस आऊँगा, तो वो भी बहुत ही काउंटर इंट्यूटिव था बिकॉज पीपल आर टेकिंग PR. सो आई थिंक ये इसकी शुरुआत 12th के बाद ही हो गई थी कि द फैक्ट दैट आई विल नॉट डू फुल आई डिड नॉट डू फुल टाइम कॉलेज, नॉट दैट आई डिसाइडेड आई विल नॉट डू फुल टाइम कॉलेज, बट इट जस्ट हैपेंड.
Correct.
इट हैपेंड, सो आई मेड द मोस्ट आउट ऑफ इट. देन जब कैट हुआ, सो देयर इज अ फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन हु सजेस्टेड कि यार बाहर चले जाए इफ यू रियली वांट अ ब्रेक फ्रॉम हियर. सो दैट्स वेयर ऑस्ट्रेलिया हो गया, तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया चले गए. ऑस्ट्रेलिया से वापस आते नहीं हैं लोग यूजुअली, तो वापस आ गया. आके फिर शुरू किया इवेंट्स एज अ बिजनेस, यू नो, विद अ फ्रेंड ऑफ माइन. Events in 2010 was doing well. We were into corporate activations.
How big? You said that business became 8-10 crores?
Yeah, 10 crores.
Wow,
From 0 to 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, profitable. Like I told you, Safari भी आ गई थी. So,
That was
yeah, I mean, you know, how
that's a
you're
big tick the box, right? The car you drive,
Punjabi boy, no, bro? So, तो हमारी गड्डी तो खून में है हमारे, नहीं? So that's what it is.
28 rupee beer.
28 rupee beer.
But also you spoke about esteem. Like esteem was like the
I'm
aspiration.
saying the goalposts keep shifting. I was just talking to somebody that, you know, how, and I was just asked that after exit, अब क्या कुछ वैसा नहीं है, the goalposts keep shifting and it's been shifting since esteem. So when I was growing up, my ultimate goal in life was 25,000 रुपये अगर महीने के मिल जाए तो लाइफ सेट है. 10,000 रुपये की EMI मारुति एस्टीम की. एस्टीम हैड अ बूट की, पड़ोसी जी के पास थी, बहुत मजा आएगा. 5,000 रुपये खर्चे. 5,000 बहुत होता है खर्चने के लिए यार. When you're thinking at a 15-year-old
28 रुपए की बियर है तो बहुत है.
उस वक्त तो 16 की थी शायद. और आप पब्स और बार्स में जाके नहीं पीते थे ना, आप कहाँ पीते थे? एनीवे, सो 5,000 रुपीज स्पेंड एंड 10,000 रुपीज अ मंथ यू सेव. इन अ ईयर यू आर अ लखपति. तो वहां से शुरू हुआ.
बट बहुत ही सिंपल और अच्छा, लाइक गुड गोल पोस्ट.
ऑफ कोर्स. और उसके बाद फिर लाइक इवेंट्स फॉर मी, एंड दैट्स वेयर व्हेन आई लुक बैक आई एम लाइक व्हाई चुल होता है जो बोलते हैं ना, वो चुल क्या है, किसी दिन आई विल आल्सो ट्राई टू फिगर आउट. बट कुछ तो है कि जैसी चीजें नॉर्मल होती है मेरी लाइफ में, आई एम लाइक फास्ट रीसेट. सो इवेंट्स में 2006 I came back from Australia, and from of course Australia also I was doing my part-time jobs because I had to pay back my loan, you know, my education loan. And like I said, we come from a very simple background, so my dad took whatever little FDs he had, he took a loan against that to fund my Australian education. So वहाँ पे मैं नौकरी करता था दिन में, मतलब सुबह कॉलेज, then I was working at 3 Hutchison के मोबाइल स्टोर पे, again spiel, opening script, closing script.
तो बेचना, you knew how to sell very like through from the beginning.
नहीं यार, I think I was
education to insurance, like you built that muscle over a period of time.
I don't know. I would say that if you give me a task, I'll be as sincere as I can. So there I don't go around.
Corners, huh?
Correct. So if I'm given a spiel, I'll stick to the spiel, and I don't mind picking up the call. So I think the advantage that I have is 0 to 1 doesn't scare me. Hard resets don't scare me. Correct. So if world is going towards let's do a regular college, I'm happy to say मैं graduate, मतलब कैसे भी part time करके सीख लूँगा. If people are saying stay back in Australia, I'll be like, I'll come back and I'll figure out. So the newness, the unknown doesn't scare me. And that's what I think sales also requires, that you should be willing to face more nays than yeas.
Correct.
So I think that's a muscle. But yes, so 2010 was again that point where we were doing well and life was set. Finally, it was just getting settled, correct? Because 2006, we started with 16,000 salary after coming back from Australia, where I had paid back my loans. I was making that money. 3 Hutchison में काम करता, शाम को एक इंडियन रेस्टोरेंट में, because butter chicken, butter naan and कच्चा प्याज मिल जाता था यार रोज. खाना खुद नहीं बनाना पड़ता था. आने के बाद 16,000 से शुरू किया. So 2010 तक it was a good goalpost. I had got my car. We had made a little bit of money to even buy a little property. So all that was there. And then again a reset happened with carpets. From carpets to Sirona.
How did that happen? Like Sirona, like I remember seeing Pee Buddy very early on.
Correct.
In fact,
Yeah.
Whenever I met you, I always thought of you as a purpose-driven founder, doing things the right way. And Sirona also, like always, there always seemed missionary beyond the business. But talk about the thesis, how you started off. Carpets to women standing and peeing.
Correct. Yeah, so serendipity ही है. I won't say कि, दो मैं joke है कि मेरे parents को पता था मैं यही करूँगा, because my name is Deep. When you spell it backwards, it becomes Speed. So Pete Bajaj. So that was a joke. But no, I think on a serious note, carpets came in not by design in my life. Events was by design. I came back. I was enjoying events. it came to a point where I think with me and my partner, I think it's a beautiful dialogue from The Dark Knight. It says, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become
Become the villain, huh?
I think what happened is as we grew, and and that's also one of the reasons why I came up with this personal AOP as a theory to say that every relation we need to, after every few years, we need to realign where we are headed. Otherwise, the erosion happens. So in events, not many people know it, but in events, what happened that we were doing well commercially. We both wanted different things in life. I wanted to do more, and my partner was a man of you know, and now in hindsight I respect that far more. He's like, gradually build karte hai, sahi chal raha hai, sab theek hai. Why do we want to grow at a breakneck speed? And he was a man of very limited needs. I wanted more. The hunger for wanting more was very, very large. So it came to a point where I said, either we invest in ourselves as a team and we take this 10 crores to 100, or I start getting more money. Our partnership stakes were, he was at 75, I was at 25. So I said, 50-50 kar le yaar, so that I start making more money. And, or we take the scale to a level where I can get money. So event was, I would still say, planned. Carpet happened because then it came to a point where I just couldn't get out of the bed. It became very difficult while the money was very good. Safari aa gayi thi, but अब वो safari चलाने में मजा नहीं आ रहा था.
Correct. And income never makes up for equity hunger.
Correct. I think you intellectualize it very well. But for me, it was about money has never been the only motivator for me. If I'm able to move things forward, if I'm able to contribute, I'm happy. If I'm not able to contribute, no matter how much money I'm getting, I just feel very constrained.
Correct.
There was no other option. Rashi, my wife, is a carpet designer. So 2009 is when we got married, and I told her, "Naukri kyun karenge yaar? Events sahi chal raha tha us waqt." So her father was into carpet exports, so they had knowledge of carpet manufacturing. I said, "You become India's first female carpet designer." Events maybe the journey from 10 to 100 was IP. I realized that अगर IP है तो कुछ भी scale कर सकते हो आप. Let's take a brief and execute में नहीं, बड़ी company नहीं बन सकती है, because then you just become a contractor. Correct? People who have IP are the ones who make it big. IPL is an IP. Pinkathon is an IP.
Correct. Sunburn is an IP. This, what you're doing, is an IP. Yeah. So that my partner didn't want to do. So I tried to do that with Rashi's business. I said, don't just open a carpet store. You become India's first female carpet designer. And luckily she said, fair enough. So first year, but she's not the salesperson. And I was a free salesperson. Spiel.
Opening, closing. तो मैं फिर टेलीकॉलर फिर से बन गया अपनी लाइफ में, और मैं बहुत बार टेलीकॉलर बना. पहले इंश्योरेंस में टेलीकॉलर बना, फिर इवेंट्स बेचने के लिए टेलीकॉलर बना, फिर कार्पेट्स बेचने के लिए टेलीकॉलर बना. सो वो करना था क्योंकि आई थिंक वी हैड टू स्टेबलाइज समथिंग हैड टू पुट फूड ऑन द टेबल.
करेक्ट.
While events was very comfortable, when event stopped, I had to do something else. And so I became the de facto business development guy for carpets. 2-3 साल के अंदर टचवुड बिजनेस सेटल हो गया था. ऑफ कोर्स, एंड राशि इज अ ग्रेट ऑपरेटर. शी इज वेरी गुड एट whatever comes in. She's far better at servicing, which is a complementarity that I got with my brother. I'm a great opener, I think, and they're great finishers. So, but how Pee Buddy and the need for Pee Buddy arise was, it wasn't my calling in life to sell carpets. Rest all the decisions that I had taken were my calls.
Correct.
This was a call that I had taken, that I don't want to do events, but I'll do carpets, not what I decided. So it came in because I had to do it.
Because Rashi was doing it.
And I had to do something.
Correct.
So I just became the de facto. But मैंने ऐसा नहीं, और बहुत चीज़ें हाथों में हाथ चलाए मैंने, क्योंकि events से then I had made a little bit of money to buy a little small property, and I also used that money to invest in a few places. So वहाँ से investing का शुरू हुआ. एक कॉमर्स अकेडमी में पैसे डाले मैंने, एक हॉलीडे होम प्रोजेक्ट में पैसे डाले, वो डूब गए ऑफ कोर्स. और वहाँ से एक लर्निंग आई कि यार आई एम समबडी who does best when he's operating.
Correct.
I'm somebody who can do only one thing at a time. So while people are great at multitasking, I'm not a multitasker. मैं एक बारी में एक चीज़ अच्छे से कर सकता हूँ.
Correct.
13-14 तक that writing was on the wall that carpet is not my business. I can't be a second fiddle in any business where I don't have control. And idea for Pee Buddy was just born on a road trip, on a trip, and I thought I would love to do it. And the rationale was, events mein we used to do large scale concerts, and हम कितनी भी कोशिश कर लें, you know, toilets can never be kept clean. Like you just mentioned, you know, these large scale concerts में चले जाओ, portable toilets होते हैं, नहीं होते साहब.
Correct.
अभी भी when a few concert happened, there was
Illuminati और बहुत ही अभी तो recently one there's a police complaint about the
there's somebody who'd put a LinkedIn पे photo of you know,
he didn't find a
I think so वो problem थी वो जो मैंने खुद face करी थी, मतलब I had seen it, right? And because I was a business development side, I was facing the client. So let's say if you were we had clients like Citibank, Tata Indicom, DLF. If you were the client and you came to the site, you will not say about, hey, who did this production? You will call me and say, hey, what is this here, you know? So I had experienced it. Then during pregnancy, the first time we had a miscarriage. So I'd seen how UTI can be a bitch in a woman's life, you know. My mother had arthritis in her knees. So उनके केस में भी क्या हुआ? While we got her knees replaced, abhi bhi when she travels, she needs seat to be raised to a certain height for her to be able to use the washroom. So all these I had experienced. So 2013 on a road trip, casually where boys were drinking beer, by then beer had become
90 80 90
इतना बुरा भी नहीं, उससे सस्ती था, I think 50 के आसपास होगी. So Delhi Jaipur highway, boys were drinking whatever they could get their hands on. Of course we were drinking beer and girls were not drinking water also. So I was joking around and I said, देखो यार, भगवान जी प्यार तो मर्दों से ज़्यादा करते हैं, इसलिए हमें ऐसा बनाया superlative. We can stand and pee anywhere. Not that I'm proud of it, but it's a convenience, boss.
correct
It's a huge convenience, right?
100%.
And I think अगर हमारे को भी ये problem होती तो सारे toilet बहुत amazing होते.
correct
Because we were the user, right? It's
Correct.
We are the guys who are making the products, correct? Most of the times. So that joke पे, a friend's wife, Gauri is her name, Sumit is this friend, and she said कि यार ये तो इंडिया का problem है. You know, if I were in Europe, I had seen a trekker use a contraption, a makeshift product to stand and pee. I think it was also कि bottle काटा या कुछ किया, but she was able to stand and pee, that girl, and we all laughed it off. But I think for me,
it stayed.
It gave, yeah, and यही हुआ होगा. मैं आप बोल सकता हूँ कि आज मैं इसको intellectualize कर सकता हूँ, but हुआ यही होगा कि all these experiences would have, you know, flashed before my eyes. कि यार, I remember doing Sunidhi Chauhan concert one. We were launching this mall called Cross River Mall, and B.D. Jaraile had just come in as a song. It was a rage.
Yeah.
That lady is a rock star of a performer, anyways.
This 2006-7, yeah, I don't know, 7-8.
2009 is when we were launching this mall. Cross River Mall was back then the longest mall of Shadra, that area. And Sunidhi is a Dilshad Garden girl. She's a girl from Dilshad Garden. We, I think, had planned कि there'll be 5,000-7,000 people who will come in. 15,000 people showed up, buddy. And you can't control that crowd. And I remember how toilets were. Like खून के आंसू रो रहा था मैं देख के कि बॉस ये ओवरफ्लो रहे हैं, बिकॉज यू कांट कंट्रोल, नहीं कर सकते हो आप, बहुत मुश्किल है.
करेक्ट.
क्योंकि होता क्या है कि आप सबसे पहले वाले टॉयलेट में ही चले जाओगे और उससे आगे लाइन लगती रहेगी, भले आप कितनी बड़ी लाइन लगा दो. इन टोटली गोइंग, दिस इज द फर्स्ट वन. इवन इफ यू लुक एट योर बिहेवियर, इफ यू गो टू सिनेमा, द फर्स्ट वन, द फर्स्ट यूरिन.
15,000 छोड़ो, 300 लोगों की फ्लाइट में हो जाता है.
करेक्ट. वो उस पर भी आता हूँ. करेक्ट. तो यही हुआ होगा कि वो कॉन्सर्ट आया होगा. Then I remembered, then I would have maybe, recalled or relived the UTI-led miscarriage day. कि यार ये हुआ था. And तब तक मुझे लगता था कि UTI आपको सिर्फ गंदे टॉयलेट्स होता है, जो सच नहीं है by the way. But तब तक ये लगता था. So I thought, अरे यार, इस रीज़न से भी ये प्रोडक्ट होना चाहिए. And third में भी ये लगा होगा कि मदर के केस में अर्थराइटिस था. तो all marriages and funerals सब उन्होंने, she had stopped attending everything because बाहर कैसे निकलेंगे.
It's very limiting actually.
It still is.
Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're
Correct.
Position of privilege से पता नहीं चलता वो.
और प्रिविलेज नहीं, मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ, आज अगर आप देखो कि when we are traveling, you know, when we travel with our mothers, like you said, business class. So when we got pregnant, again, we had to travel to Dubai because Rashi does carpets for hotels and high-end residences. और travel करना ज़रूरी था because she is the designer. मतलब मैं तो salesman हूँ ना. Who will trust a salesman? So she had to come in for the design input. So we had to go to Dubai and we had to fly. And this was one miscarriage down. And we thought, यार, अब कुछ भी करते हैं. So while we couldn't even afford business class that easily, we upgraded. And I remember, her coming back and telling me, yaar, the seat is completely done. I mean, it's fucked. It's so bad, even the business class. Because you're only one bad man away from a bad toilet experience in a flight.
Correct.
है ना? Like if we go around sprinkling our business, तो सीट खराब हो ही जाती है. यार अभी भी खराब है. तो it's like, यार वहाँ पे भी सॉल्व नहीं होता. To answer your question, that even business class seats are not.
Like probably 12 people who are using it. Yeah.
Correct. And arthritis. So if your grandmother, if your mother, if anybody has arthritis, even the 5-star seat, she can't sit and stand easily. तो पी बडी तो चाहिए था. सो आई थिंक यही हुआ होगा उस वक्त. आई एम सेइंग ये सब फ्लैश किया होगा एंड आई मस्ट हैव डिसाइडेड कि आके कुछ करूँगा. केम बैक, हंसी मजाक में बात हो गई एंड वहाँ से शुरू हुआ कि यार ये करते हैं, ये मुझे मज़ा आ रहा है. बिकॉज द स्पार्क केम बैक, यू नो, द होल void that I was experiencing from 4 years of selling carpets. राशि मारेगी मुझे वैसे. बट बहुत मज़ा आता है कार्पेट बेचने में यार. क्या हम इससे बेटर बना के देंगे आपको. So yes यार, I think that conversation and these experiences would have flashed and I would have decided कि यार
Did you evaluate कि कितना बड़ा मार्केट, because मार्केट तो है
नहीं
नहीं
यार, कभी
कुछ.
ऐसे किए नहीं ना कॉल्स. ये आप जैसे समझदार लोग कॉल्स लेते हैं, मैकेंजी बैकग्राउंड वाले. यार हमारे पास डेटा होता ही नहीं है टू इंटरप्रेट. यू नो, लाइफ हैज नेवर गिवन मी द लग्जरी ऑफ चॉइसेस,
Which is a great thing.
and I had no regrets.
Because instinct
Correct.
is so sharp because of
Correct.
experiences, right? Your
Correct.
instinct becomes very sharp.
And I think it's usually correct. Your gut feel is correct.
Especially with experience. Like if you
Yeah.
by 2014 you were in the world of business, whether it's insurance or whether
Correct.
it's education or carpets or whatever. Events where you would have had like a much wider exposure.
Correct.
Every client would have been different, every concept would have been different, right? So by 2014-15 I don't think you also realized that वो 14 साल में आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया भी घूम के आ गए.
Correct.
So you had like a much wider experience compared to, let's say, any other 32, 33-year-old person.
Yeah, could be. You can absolutely say that. And I think it's also to do with your own DNA, right? Like for me, I believe that if there is gut feeling that I believe that this will work, I know that I'll give it all that I have to offer, and I will find answers on the way, right? So events जब शुरू किए थे तो नहीं पता था ना कि यार 10 कहाँ भी कैसे पहुँचेंगे. जब कार्पेट शुरू किए थे तो it wasn't clear that will people pay a premium for a customized carpet. Today everything has become customizing. I'm talking 2009-8.
Correct.
2009-10, you know. The long and short of it is कि eventually if the gut feel says कि ये कर सकते हैं तो रास्ते तो आप ढूंढ ही लोगे. तो वो वही हुआ कि आज मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि अगर आप मुझसे आज पूछोगे, यू नो, ऑन द अदर साइड ऑफ, ऑन द रॉन्ग साइड ऑफ 40, कि यार अब क्या क्या चीज़ों का ध्यान रखोगे, तो आज मैं बोलूँगा यार कि पेशेंस चाहिए. टुडे आई विल से यार कि ग्रेट टीम चाहिए. उस वक्त नहीं पता था. सो आई थिंक द आइडिया केम इन.
And how did you start? How did day one happen? Day zero, day one. What was the first set of products?
Yeah.
How do you think about like how to put money?
Yeah.
How did you think about कि consumer को कैसे बोलेंगे कि हम क्या बना रहे हैं? How did you think about the brand Pee Buddy? Like describe
Correct.
the 0 to 1 journey. Because our viewers, Deep, are typically younger folks who are on the precipice of entrepreneurship.
Correct.
I think after this conversation, if even one person watching
Correct.
feels कि यार,
Yeah.
oh wow, मैं भी कर सकता हूँ,
Correct,
मैं भी कर
correct,
सकती हूँ,
correct.
I think our time would have been like nicely
Correct.
spent.
Spent. Correct. Even today I believe in this यार कि मुझे लगता है कि सारे आंसर्स डे जीरो पे नहीं मिलते हैं. And depending on whatever circumstances you have, if you really can manage to give time to an idea, you will sooner or later find, you know, the solutions as well. So Pee Buddy के केस में इतना सा हुआ कि यार I came back and I thought कुछ तो करना ही है. कैसे बेचेंगे वगैरह नहीं सोचा था यार, बिकॉज इससे पहले जब लाइक आई सेड इवेंट्स जब किए थे तो सोचा थोड़ी था कैसे बिकेगा. कार्पेट्स के केस में भी नहीं सोचा था. द प्रोडक्ट चेंज्ड, राइट? दैट्स द ओनली थिंग दैट हैपेंड. ऑनलाइन वर्ल्ड एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता. 2013-14 आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. But what I realized was this: as a product, need तो बहुत strong है. You speak to 10 women, and they'll tell you, of course, आज पूछ लो आप कि यार do they find clean toilets on the go? Clean भी छोड़ दो. Do they find friendly toilets on the go? Right? So like I said, pregnancy, arthritis, 5 stars also. If I am not able to sit and stand, I can't, right?
Yeah.
So बहुत क्लियर था कि प्रोडक्ट चाहिए. कहाँ से बेचूंगा? आई थॉट वुमेन को बेचना, जहाँ जहाँ वुमेन होंगी वहाँ बेचेंगे, बिकॉज ऑनलाइन वर्ल्ड डिडंट एग्जिस्ट. करेक्ट. एंड फंडिंग वर्ल्ड के बारे में पता नहीं था. सो इसीलिए व्हाट आई टेल पीपल इज कि यार फ्रेंड्स, फैमिली एंड फूल्स फर्स्ट के पास चले जाओ, अपने पैसे देख लो. सो व्हाट वी रियलाइज वाज कि राशि वाज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ द कार्पेट्स बिट. And I had a little bit money to come up with the first product. So events में I used to have a
कितना डाला
printer.
आपने खुद का तब?
या तो पहला शुरू में तो 5-7 लाख रुपए डाले थे. उसका eventually of course because 2014 till 17 we were running it on our own money. तब तक में भी 50-60 लाख और गया होगा. इधर उधर जहाँ से भी पैसे आ रहे थे वो यहीं चले जाते थे, right? And I did stuff. So I did part time, few events. वहाँ से पैसे बनाए तो 20 में डाले तो कर के we kept funding it.
हसल था मतलब.
You make it sound better, but उस वक्त तो यही सर्वाइवल था. तो यही तरीका था कि
और कोई और co-founder था आपका? like
my brother is my co-founder. 2 friends और भी थे actually, who then decided कि नहीं यार इससे पैसा कभी नहीं बनेगा, so they moved. And or maybe they had other pressing requirements in life, yeah, which they had to cater to. I was still, nobody was asking me questions, you know, like my father, my wife. I think they've all given up hope. So पूछते ही नहीं है क्या कर रहे हो. So I was not answerable to anybody. So I could take calls very differently to most of the people. The thing that was clear was कि करना जरूर चाहिए. करने के लिए कितने पैसे चाहिए? पहला प्रोटोटाइप बनाने के लिए 2 लाख रुपए चाहिए थे मैक्सिमम. क्यों? क्योंकि आपको प्रिंटिंग ही तो इट्स जस्ट अ पेपर, इट्स अ कार्डबोर्ड फनल. प्लेस करो, पी करो. कुप्पी होती है ना पेट्रोल. So it was just a funnel, right? It just directs urine to, and we also have just funnels only.
Correct.
It's just that it's attached.
Yeah, it's a form factor.
Correct, it's a form factor, correct. So what I wanted was, and uska fir I spoke to a printer. He said, "Itna paisa lagega." So that is the money that was required. When the product came, then we started thinking about how to sell. You know, because pehle to pata nahi tha ki product aayega nahi aayega. And I started from Rashi's carpet store. So I took one table, where now after exiting Sirona, I'm back at that table only. एंड सो कोई किराए का नहीं सोचा कि ऑफिस लेने की ज़रूरत है, बिकॉज देयर वाज एन ऑफिस. वहाँ से शुरू किया एंड वहीं पे सारी प्रोटोटाइपिंग, वहीं पे सब पहली हायरिंग भी, थोड़े लोग उसके यूज़ कर लिए, उसका अकाउंटेंट यूज़ कर लिया थोड़े कामों के लिए. एंड कॉलिंग तो आती है, तो फ़ोन उठाए और लोगों से बातें करनी शुरू करी. सो एंड देन धीरे धीरे करके क्लियर हुआ. जो सबसे पहला थॉट में था, बिकॉज आई डोंट कम फ्रॉम FMCG बैकग्राउंड, आई हैड नो फ्रेंड फ्रॉम FMCG बैकग्राउंड, कि यार स्टोर पे अवेलेबल होना चाहिए. तो पहले नेबरहुड स्टोर पे गए एंड 2-3-4 महीने बाद यह कल आया कि अब खर्चे बढ़ रहे हैं, तो अब खर्चे कहीं और से पूरे होने बहुत ज़रूरी हैं. या तो कस्टमर पैसे दें और वी गेट मनी फ्रॉम समवेयर एल्स.
Correct.
बैक देन इन्वेस्टर इकोसिस्टम, एटलीस्ट इन माय स्फीयर, डिड नॉट एग्जिस्ट. सो आई थॉट कि लेट मी मे बी सेल अ प्रोडक्ट जो आराम से बिक जाता है और उसके साथ पी बडी को रख दूंगा. सो वी हैड आवर डॉटर बाय देन एंड फर्स्ट डॉटर. तो राशि स्टार्टेड बाइंग मस्कीटो रिपेलेंट्स फॉर हर. पैचेस आते थे, वेरी एक्सपेंसिव यार. साकेत में रहते थे, जीके से मंगवाती थी वो. सर बहुत महंगा, ये नहीं हो सकता. तो आई थॉट वो लॉन्च कर लेता हूँ, कम से कम उस प्रोडक्ट के साथ में मदर के रडार में पी बडी भी आ जाएगा, क्योंकि सेम मदर से बात कर रहे हो. यू टॉकिंग अबाउट अ मदर जो कह रही है मैं घर पे गुड नाइट या कछुआ छाप नहीं जलाऊंगी, आई वांट अ हर्बल प्रोडक्ट. दैट मदर कैन गिव मनी फॉर पी बडी. और अगर वो केमिस्ट के पास रखवाऊंगा तो केमिस्ट को क्या चाहिए, केमिस्ट ये जरूर रख लेगा. आई कांट गिव हिम एनी प्रोडक्ट बेटर देन द ट्रेडिशनल FMCG कंपनीज, बट दिस कैटेगरी नोबडी वाज देयर.
Correct.
They were just imported Chinese, some of these patches. So we launched this brand called Bodyguard, which was our entry into the funding category. तो मेरा फंड किया मेरे को बॉडीगार्ड ने. सो बॉडीगार्ड में हमने शुरू किया मस्कीटो रिपेलेंट पैचेस से. वो चाइना से मंगाए, वो दुकानें पर रखी तो वो बिकने शुरू हो गए.
What year was this?
15, around everything was happening around the same time, you know, so you're learning on the go.
Interesting. Mosquito repellent is also was the first huge category for Mama Earth.
Correct. And we started in 2014-15. Yes, so of course, I know, you know, their journey also. You know, I mean, धीरे धीरे जैसे से awareness बढ़ा that, you know, you don't want all these toxins that come out of our vaporizers is not very good for the child. So that became our first source of funding. So Bodyguard को रखना शुरू कर दिया केमिस्ट ने. केमिस्ट के साथ उन्होंने पी बडी भी रखना शुरू कर दिया. तो वहाँ से पी बडी थोड़ा थोड़ा बिकना शुरू हुआ.
But Pee Buddy was like a cardboard funnel like thing.
कार्डबोर्ड फनल शाउटिंग फ्रॉम द रूफटॉप्स. इनफैक्ट हमने बॉडीगार्ड वाले ही डिजाइन ले लिया, उधर पैसे नहीं थे पी बडी को डिजाइन कराने के. हाउ डू डिजाइन पी बडी? तो हमने बॉडीगार्ड को डिजाइन कराया with a designer who was working with a good agency who freelanced it for us. So Bodyguard की branding उठाई. Bodyguard में Bodyguard का लोगो हटा के हमने Pee Buddy लिख दिया बस ऊपर. That's how Pee Buddy was born.
It is a one-time use and throw thing.
One time use and throw. You have a pack of 5, pack of 10, pack of 20s. So that's how then, you know, the journey started. So I think in our case we tried everything. Whatever kept coming, we kept trying. But 2017, I think, then the ecosystem was evolving. And at one event, Thai, in fact, you know, we were discussing also with you. So Thai did this event called Tie the Knot. CNBC Young Turks Tie the Knot. And Thai, I had started going to the event because, you know, I wanted connections. I didn't know these modern trade outlets. 2015, I started going to Thai events. And I started meeting people. So it was my way to network. My way to find connections. कि अगर मेरे को future group में रखना है, मुझे अगर shopper stop में रखना है, मुझे अगर कहीं और रखना है, I need to find these people. They will not answer my calls. The category didn't exist.
Correct.
The category of female urination device didn't exist in our country. It was not a node. Even on Amazon, it wasn't a node. At least, you know, when Amazon India started. And online wasn't giving that number. So the philosophy was that offline it will sell.
Wasn't a node.
है ना? So node open कराया, बहुत मेहनत करी यार.
लगते 6-7 महीने लगते उसमें.
Correct. तो वो करते करते फिर ऐसे one thing led to another यार, and so tie the knot में we were spotted by Indian Angel Network. Indian Angel Network पैसा दिया,
कितना, how much was the first round?
2.96 crores,
And तब how big was the business?
1 crore a year.
Wow.
That's 8-10 lakhs a month. Yes, so they took a big punt
So they put 2.96 crores and took 20% or something.
around that. Yeah, yeah.
But that's good. To 3 crores as a seed round for a
Correct, 2.96
1 crore a year business was good.
Correct. And I
Gave
think
you enough fuel, I think.
at least it gave us enough time to figure out कि क्या बिक सकता है.
हाँ.
करेक्ट, क्या बन सकता है.
Correct.
तो वी डिसाइडेड दैट विल बिकम अ फीमेल हाइजीन कंपनी.
Correct.
हमने पूरी लिस्ट बनाई कि लड़कियों को ये प्रॉब्लम होती है.
हाँ.
बाय देन वी हैड 3 प्रोडक्ट्स इन द होल थिंग, एंड आई देयर वाज पी बडी, वी हैड लॉन्च डिस्पोजल बैग्स कि यार पैड फेंकें कैसे, एंड वी हैड इंडियाज फर्स्ट हर्बल पीरियड पेन रिलीफ पैच.
Okay.
तो वो हम 3 लॉन्च कर चुके थे तब तक.
And bodyguard was separate.
Bodyguard separate, and Bodyguard we told them कि यार this is what is just bringing money on the table, because how do we
Build
run
a
the
brand,
business, correct? So, or maybe we were on track to do 2.4 crores that year, when by the time deal closed, that year was 2.4, then 7, then 21, then 40, then 70, then 100, whatever. So it started with that first check of 2.9, which came in 2 tranches. So पता ही नहीं था यार ये 20% percentage और tag drags and all that. Who would know? अभी भी नहीं पता मुझे mostly. So
That's the thing with the financial world also, is that they use very complicated words for very simple things just to create arbitrage of information. So, like लोगों को लगना चाहिए कि बहुत complicated है.
इसका पैसा देना बनता है.
हाँ, कि finance world है, like they want to create like a disparity of information.
Correct.
Most people should feel scared. And that's what I see when I see a term sheet and I see lawyers. I'm like, boss, ये बहुत ही simple चीज़ें हैं. Like tag along, drag along, anti-dilution,
Correct.
broad-based.
Lick prep.
Lick prep. We did a full primer on it recently. So, like, यार ये बहुत ही basic चीज़ है यार. This is not very hard. Like, you cannot make entrepreneurship
It's already so difficult.
inaccessible
Correct.
on understanding of basic things.
Correct.
Because you have money, right? So I agree. And then so how, and this is another thing I want to talk to you about, right? A lot of people believe that focus is important. Like as an entrepreneur, you should focus, build. But a lot of us, like we speak about Mama Earth, you, even Boat, us, we did a lot of spray and pray, yaar. ये try करो, ये try करो, ये try करो. Because that divergence before convergence is so important.
Correct.
Because otherwise, if you just converge on something and then that thing is not the right thing,
Correct.
then the experimentation of a founder, the agility to experiment 50 times is
Correct.
lost.
Correct.
And you don't get the best outcome.
Correct. I think it's, it starts from this thought which today is clearer in my mind. Here we are all giving our peak years of our life to this project.
Correct.
I would say 8 out of 10 founders are very serious about when they are meeting an investor. I've seen that at least personally. कि 8 इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि their life depends on it. Maybe 2 are to have a plan B, C, D ready. 8 that I have met at least have, this is what I want to do here. What I have realized in my journey is day 0, nobody knows what the final, spot is going to look like. And because I also didn't know it, and so many other successful founders have said, that even they didn't know it, what they started with and what they're doing. Amazon started with books and doing everything else. Major money coming from a tech business of theirs. Correct. Nobody knew when they started. So I think we need to just throw that rope and take away this layer of focus. I mean, अगर founder को लग रहा है यार कि उसको 4 चीज़ें करनी है, तो मेरे ख्याल से तो करने देनी चाहिए यार. Because Sachin said it, somebody said it, right? कि in this country, success has many fathers, failure has one, which is you, है ना? तो if that is going to be the reality, तो might as well do things जो आपको ठीक लगता है. Because आप अगर अपने दिल से सच्ची से बिजनेस चला रहे हो और आपको लगता है मेरी स्ट्रेंथ से हैं, जैसे मेरे टाइम पे बहुत कंपैरिजन हुए हमारे, competition raised money, उन्होंने ज़्यादा पैसा उठा लिया, they were more known, etc.
Did that affect you?
Of course it does.
For you, it was P-safe.
It was P-safe.
We are also competitors, by the way.
Yeah, well, in a small way.
In some in I think sexual wellness में एक दो products थे हमारे.
पर मैं बताता हूँ, मुझे लगता नहीं है competition. मतलब हम क्यों नहीं competition पे आता हूँ. So yes, P-safe raised money and they raised far more money and they were far more out there. I think in hindsight, if I say did it impact, it of course impacts them because हो क्या रहा है देखो यार आप अकेले आपको फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Because this was my 3rd or 4th business. By that, this time the realization had come कि यार your only competition is you. You are the only competition. बाकी से फर्क ही नहीं पड़ेगा. 5 साल बाद they will not matter.
Correct.
But when you're in the journey, it's difficult. So what you have to do
you're
is
too
you have
close
to
to the
keep yourself. Of course, you have to keep yourself positive, because the guys who are asking you questions, you believe they're on your side. So if your investors start asking you, "Yaar, how are they able to raise, or how are they doing this?" It puts you in a self-doubt, and it's a constant dilemma between conviction and confusion.
Correct.
Conviction and confusion. Like there are days when I get up with full conviction, and there are days when I'm like, "Oh fuck, what's happening?" You know, will I be
And
able to
फटती है यार उस टाइम पे तो.
बिल्कुल. और अब भी फटती है यार. आज भी अगर बोलोगे किसी भी सिचुएशन में, लाइक द ठीक है, अभी टुडे आई एम नॉट रनिंग Sirona, but what the other businesses which I am helping, I have full sympathy for each and every founder यार, because it हमारे देश में कितना भी बोल लो, सिर्फ सक्सेस को ही माथा देख के टीका लगाते हैं ना. मैं वाइफ से कि माथा देख के टीका निकलता है. जैसे शी इज़ अ बनिया, तो शी टेल्स मी कि यार बनियों के अंदर होता है कि माथा देख के टीका निकालते हैं. इसका मतलब है कि जिसका माथे के हिसाब से टीका मतलब दैट शगुन. इफ यू आर अ बिग गाय यू गेट बिग शगुन, इफ यू आर अ स्मॉल गाय यू गेट स्मॉल शगुन. तो इस देश की तो नियम है वो.
करेक्ट.
फेलियर्स को तो सक्सेस ही नहीं, यू नो, सेलिब्रेट तो छोड़ दो.
Outcast almost.
It's a outcast, correct. And every founder, I think, these 8 out of 10 for me are every day living and dying, you know, with their own guilt and pressure. That
Terrifying it is.
Correct.
It is terrifying.
So बिल्कुल इम्पैक्ट करता है. So हमारे केस में भी हुआ कि of course parallels were drawn.
तो P-Safe के अलावा और कौन था उस like in this?
I would say, but they were the only ones who I would say were at least building the category with us. Rest everybody was मैं 10 रुपए सस्ता हूँ. Correct. So that didn't really matter. They were co-creating the category, and but yes, there were things like.
And was there cross equity? Like what they were doing was rubbing off onto you guys. What you were doing was rubbing off onto them because you're building out the
correct.
The P category.
I think हमारे केस में ये हो रहा था कि we saw a constant chase behind our products. तो हम launch करते थे, फिर बाकी लोग launch कर देते थे. And we were trying to come across as an innovative company. We were trying to say that we were the first one to do it, first ones to do it. We were trying to solve problems. We were trying to be out of the things. But as far as pushing the category forward was concerned, I would still give them full marks here. They went out there and did it. What I did at that time was I just championed the stuff that I knew. And I think towards the 3rd, 4th year, this realization came in very strong. I started telling my team also what they are doing and what they are saying. They से मेरा मतलब है, let's say, competition. And they से मेरा also मतलब है the investors who we don't align with much, you know.
ये भी हो जाता है. Like so at that time, just paint a picture for me. How big was Sirona in terms of team size, number of products, channels? ये 2017, 18, 19 की बात कर रहे हो.
तब तो बहुत छोटे थे ना यार. हम मे भी 15-20 लोग ही थे और 2.5-3-4 करोड़ के रन रेट पे थे.
महीने का?
हाँ, नहीं साल का. महीने का कर रहे होते तो छोटा पैसा नहीं उठाते ना उस वक्त.
और इन्वेस्टर्स कितने ज़्यादा थे? Iron?
It was only Iron.
Okay.
Like we had Iron and a friend who would come in early as a seed. So friend, family and fools, उससे थोड़ा पैसा ले लिया था 2016-17 में. And he's the one who made 20x on his money. So happy with that outcome, at least for him. Team wise यार, so that's what it was, and we kept growing छोटा करके. But the thesis that we built internally was यार कि बाहर को देखेंगे तो हमेशा दुखी रहोगे. I think let's just keep our game on ourselves. So I also made that grid, and it's also sharing my learnings with whenever I would learn around this, because this is a muscle that I was building, that how do I keep myself on the game. So I said I need to understand myself very well. So my realization was, earlier investor would, if there were investors who would say stuff, I'll take it to my heart. Then I realized नहीं यार, ये इनमें से कुछ अच्छे हैं and बाकी भी अच्छे हैं. They mean my good only ना. See, when they're coming up to me with a concern,
correct,
they want best for maybe their money, and in a way
for
they
the
want
company.
only 15-20%. I'm 80. So ज़्यादा फायदा तो मेरा है ना.
Correct.
अगर एडवाइस में मेरिट है.
Correct.
बट आई ऑल्सो रियलाइज कि एज अ फाउंडर मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अपने आप को पॉजिटिव रखना भी और मेरी टीम को पॉजिटिव रखना भी है. तो वी स्टार्टेड क्रिएटिंग रिचुअल्स अराउंड दिस. So we said there are some investors who mean are good, but the way they say it doesn't align with our energies. And I had learned this concept of energy vampires.
I saw that.
बहुत cool concept है यार. I think every founder should keep this early stage, even late stage.
Tell our viewers what this means. What is an energy vampire? What it means? It's actually self-explanatory, but it's nice the way you've written it.
I think so. Energy vampires के बारे में मुझे दंडापानी जी ने बताया. दंडापानी is a monk based in New York. I happened to meet him once, and he says that energy is like money. It's finite. खत्म होती है, मर जाते हो. Money भी खत्म होते हैं, मर जाते हैं कि यार बर्बाद हो गए, whatever. And there are places where you enter and you feel energetic immediately because those energy of those places align with you. There are people you meet and you feel immediately energized, and there's some people you meet and you feel किसी ने ना straw लगा के पूरी energy suck कर दी. Correct? So he
Correct.
says in terms of vampires, he says these people are sucking your energy.
Correct.
So it's very important for you to know who are you spending your energy on.
Correct.
So, and today when I meet people, I think subconsciously I'm able to compartmentalize them into these two blocks.
Correct.
You must be very good for me, a great well-wisher, saying everything correct. But if after meeting you I feel drained, then यार
मजा नहीं आया.
मेरे को I'll have to learn to avoid.
Correct.
आप गलत नहीं हो.
Correct.
आप बिल्कुल सही हो मेरे लिए. बट आप जो बोल रहे हो मेरे ऊपर वो टेक्निक काम नहीं करती. जैसे मोटिवेशन दो तरीके हो सकते हैं ना. आप किसी को गाली दे दो कि यार तुझसे बड़ा चमन कोई नहीं है और आप बोलोगे मैं तेरे को ठीक करूंगा. I'll prove you wrong. या आप किसी को बोले यार तू अच्छा कर रहा है, थोड़ा और अच्छा कर.
Correct.
तो you can't play the same rope on two different people.
Correct.
So if you can identify these guys in your life will be very sorted. So we started subconsciously, at least I started saying ये एडवाइस पे मैं एंगेज नहीं करूंगा बियॉन्ड अ पॉइंट. ये एडवाइस जो मेरे को लगती है पॉजिटिव है मेरे लिए, बिकॉज आई एम ऑल फॉर कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म, नॉट
To make the company better.
to make the company better. So, and we said we'll double down on our strength. So one is know who's the energy vampire. Second is know your strength. My strength was marketplaces. I just kept everyone aligned on that. Third thing that I did internally to avoid any sort of comparison was we wrote it everywhere on the walls. We are not crabs, no comparison. More power to competition, more power to everybody else. But whenever anything is written about us, our work has to be so good that we are seen as the guys who are taking the category forward.
Category building is very hard, man. Category building is very hard, especially with limited resources. Doing it online, जहाँ पे engagement is and
Correct.
attention is so much at a premium. कि category building is so difficult.
करेक्ट. बट इसीलिए बोल रहा हूँ ना कि मुझे लगता है कि हमने कभी भी ना, एटलीस्ट विद यू एंड अ फ्यू अदर्स, वी नेवर सॉट एज अ कॉम्पिटिशन बिकॉज वी वर ऑन अ वेरी डिफरेंट मिशन. हम ये बोल रहे थे कि प्यूबर्टी से लेके मेनोपॉज तक देयर आर इश्यूज दैट वुमेन आर फेसिंग एंड वी वर एबल टू डू इट विद डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट्स, introducing different products. So with toilets, while PSAF said that you sanitize the seat, we said no, don't touch the seat.
Yeah.
Stand and pee.
Yeah.
And then of course we came up with seat covers, which they also came up with, and few other products. And then in period pain, we said so puberty toilet khatam hua, then we moved to if you have your periods, what are the challenges? So सिर्फ periods में सिर्फ flow नहीं है, सिर्फ pad नहीं चाहिए.
Correct.
4 product और हैं.
Correct.
तो we introduced many products not as a competition to say यार कि हमारे tampax का competition है. We said we want to be a destination where she gets the variety. So pad, tampon, liner और menstrual cups, you have all. उसमें से जिसमें हमारी conviction highest है हम उसमें deep जाएंगे. So in that category, I thought कि यार menstrual cups are a great product.
Correct.
From our knowledge. So we created entire universe around that. We went deeper. When we move to other sphere, when she gets sexually active, what is missing? So for us, lubes was more for women because we said puberty to menopause. So we introduced the lube for the menopausal women to say the vaginal dryness hoti hai. And of course, it can be used in intercourse as well, for your regular lubrication. So in many products, our reason of getting into the category was very, very different. It wasn't here. Razors, for example, was not razors, but we wanted bikini line and under breast.
Correct.
तो वेराइटी देनी जरूरी थी कि यार वी आर सेइंग दैट वी आर नॉट पुशिंग आवर प्रोडक्ट डाउन, बट इफ यू आस्क अस, इफ यू टॉक टू द सिरोना गर्ल, शी विल टेल यू मैम दिस इज व्हाट वी रेकमेंड. तो कंटेंट भी वैसे क्रिएट किया. सो आपने तो ऑफ कोर्स यू अप द गेम टू अनदर लेवल, बट माय कंटेंट क्रिएशन वेंट टुवर्ड्स मार्केट प्लेस के ऊपर कोई क्या सर्च कर रहा है उसके अराउंड वीडियो सिरोना के यूट्यूब पे होना चाहिए and expert videos होने चाहिए. तो our topics were many times very, very unrelated and I got a lot of backlash. That's my question to you, कि how did you go about initially justifying
What
doing this?
backlash did you get, for example?
इस पे पैसा क्यों खर्च रहे हो? Because
From investors?
From many people, advisors, investors. यार अभी सेल कहाँ से आ रहा है? मार्केट प्लेस पे आ रहा है, तो मार्केट प्लेस पे सेट स्पेंड कर लो. Everybody had started growing on their own website. I didn't have that thesis. I didn't have that strength. तो मैं वहाँ पैसा खर्च नहीं जाता. So there was this advisor turned customer turned team member, Dr. Diksha, great rock star, who came in and she started creating these, and she's a doctor, MBBS MD. She started creating content around topics which were neglected. We said we are breaking taboo around female hygiene. So taboo तभी break होगा जब conversation होगी. Conversation तभी होगी जब उसके around enough content है. करेंट मैं नॉर्मलाइज करूंगा तभी बात होगी ना. नाउ टुडे वी कैन से वुमेन स्टैंड इन पी सो ओपनली, पीरियड पेन सो ओपनली, बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स वी आर नॉर्मलाइजिंग इट. सो शी स्टार्टेड क्रिएटिंग दैट कंटेंट, बट देयर मेनी टाइम्स व्हेन दोस वी डिडंट हैव प्रोडक्ट्स फॉर दैट कंटेंट. We were only looking at what are women searching. So if somebody is searching on what to do in case of brown discharge, vaginal discharge, we had the content on that.
Oh, really?
The idea was कि if she's searching, she
It's
should
relevant,
get the
yeah.
answer.
Correct.
And
Product मिले ना मिले, yeah.
हाँ, प्रोडक्ट तो बहुत बाद में आया हमारे कई केस में प्रोडक्ट बहुत बाद में आए. And we should give the product that we fundamentally believe in is really pushing the category forward. So, for example, when we got into, like I gave you the example of razors, when we got into pads, we were the first company to say, why are pads only white? So, we came with black pads. The theory was that, you know, if, and लोग ये बोलते थे कि they want to see how much blood, you know, how much have they bled, etc. And we said, no, we've spoken to girls and 3 out of 10 girls don't want to see the blood. तो उनके लिए कोई product क्यों नहीं बना रहा है? So we came up with 100% compostable, biodegradable, black and baby pink color pads. तो वो insights कहाँ से आएंगे? So people were searching. So we were searching, we were making content. But backlash started coming कि यार इसके तो product ही नहीं है. इनमें से कहीं हो कि तुम्हारे पास product ही नहीं है. Why are you making?
Oh.
But today, by the way, that at least till about a year and a half ago, that was one of the biggest sources for us to get organic traffic. You know?
And engaged. And the purchase intent, which is definitely higher than like a regular customer on Amazon or whatever.
Or if I can pen down on a few things that we did right, one of them is being really genuine about our products. We did not push only what Amazon पे बिक रहा था. We also pushed product that we believed customers should get. And I think that is the reason why we always sold, you know, compared to the category with very, very little monies. Because at one point, I think when we were doing about 40-50 crores revenue, we raised maybe total 4 crores. And we were profitable. And all of this is because there were so many ambassadors, you know, customer turned ambassadors, and they were able to trust us because when they searched on the category, there was not a young girl who was just saying, buy this brand because it's better. We had experts making those videos telling you the scientific rationale.
That's crazy, by the way. Just like if you have raised only 4 crores, you've taken the business to 40 crores.
Yeah.
You've basically created almost like a 10x revenue to capital employed.
Yeah. At our peak, that's where we were.
That's
that
crazy.
Time.
And how much money did you raise lifetime?
Sir, I think before the Good Glam came in our life, it was okay. So we had just done our Series A, which was 20 crores.
Wow.
Out of that,
who was that? Who did that with?
I and the fund and NB Ventures Dubai. Out of that, 10 had come into the bank and I had FD for 8. So remaining 10 had to come.
Okay.
So I would say deployed wise, it will be 2.9, then maybe 1.9. So that makes it around 4.5, yeah, 4.8. And then this 2 crores ये डालना शुरू किया ही किया था, तब तक ये Good Glam वाला आ गया.
So 6.8 plus 8. So 15 crore आपने
No, 6.8 ना, because 8 की तो FD थी हमारे पास.
तो 6.8 was deployed.
6.8 was deployed and
we were a 100 crore business.
We were 70 crore के run rate पे.
70 crores.
Yeah.
Wow. So 6-7 crore महीने का was now kind of coming into the business.
Correct. Which was coming. And अब कोई इतनी बड़ी बात भी नहीं है यार. I think वो but हाँ surprisingly
इतने कम पैसे में. इतने कम पैसे में in a category creation game to create a business, and you were profitable by then.
Yeah. So again वो advantage है ना. So with my brother, so who's also the co-founder.
How did you guys divide roles between you and him?
So like we very, very clear opposite roles. So call center, उठा सकता हूँ. So sales and investors and team was me.
And marketplace समझ लो मैं.
हाँ वो तो सोच में आ गया, sales में आ गया वो.
हाँ.
And it's finance, production, ops was entirely him.
That's how usually, like when there are two founders in a brand space, that's usually how they do it.
Correct. So that's how the roles are divided.
Supply chain and demand creation.
Correct.
God. Was it the first time you and your brother had worked together?
Yeah.
What's his name, sorry?
Mohit.
Yeah.
Mohit.
How was that experience to work with a family member?
Very good, yeah. I think Younger, 6 years younger. Very interesting, you know. Though there are lines do get blurred at times when you're angry because you take some liberties which you take at home and like, no, dude, this is office, you know.
But you guys were close before that?
Sorry, yeah, of course. We stay together. I stay with my parents and
the full family.
Yeah,
wonderful.
So वो अभी भी वैसा ही है. I think very, very big. Again, in hindsight, if you would ask me in 2017, 18, 19, I don't know what my answers would have been. But today, when I look back, I would say it was one of the biggest reasons why we were able to weather so many storms. You know, like because we had raised very little funding, COVID came in, so we had to take a loan against our house to fund the salaries because we didn't want salaries to get late. Some of these guys.
Really?
Yeah. So in many ways, you know, there was complete like from my side, and of course similar from him. There was this blind trust that you have that somebody's got your back, and you can trust him, you know, blindly. So Huge advantage. Won't have it any other way. So हाँ लड़ाई ज़रूर करता हूँ मैं.
But वो भी खुल के करते हैं ना, मतलब
हाँ, of
end of the
course.
day everyone puts the company first, and that's
Yeah,
if
correct.
that is not questioned at all,
Correct.
then that's a great thing.
Taptak, how many products do you have? Like, what was your assortment? Well, now I see Sirona at Airport.
Yeah.
I find it to be really like it's such a beautiful outside the washroom.
Correct.
You have like a really nice
Correct.
display. I think it's a, by the way, it's something that we look up to a lot.
You're just kind.
No, हमारी तो फटती रहती है एयरपोर्ट में, यार ये लोग कैसे कर लेते हैं यार.
Correct.
Lot of things that you have done, by the way,
Yeah.
including in women's razors.
Yeah.
बहुत जलन होती है यहाँ पे लोगों को, including me. And it's not the good kind of jalan, which is like the razor wali. It's not a razor burn, it is a business burn. But by then, when you were 70 crores, 8 crores in FD, 6-7 crores, very frugally done for maybe 4-5 years, COVID around the corner. What was the assortment like? What are the channel split like? तब तो क्विक कॉमर्स था ही नहीं, तो कहाँ बेचते थे? मार्केट प्लेसेस वाज क्लियर, बट कहाँ बेचते थे, कितने प्रोडक्ट थे, और कंज्यूमर के दिमाग में आप लाइक यू कॉल इट अ सेरोना गर्ल, बट टॉक अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट व्हाट द कंज्यूमर थॉट ऑफ यू. एंड
So I think consumers, so internally, how did we perceive that what we were doing? So we said, of course, we're on a mission to break the taboo that exists around female hygiene.
I love the way you talk puberty to menopause, so clear, like every touch
Yeah.
point, every trigger, and there are many.
Correct.
And many, most underserved.
And unaddressed. So the criteria, in fact, we had even made a 2:1 ratio internally to say that because यार थोड़े time के बाद अगर number का pressure है and you have to pivot. So we said, fair enough, even if you're doing Me Too products, you need to give me incremental innovation on it. Or give me one innovation, pure innovation, 2:1. So unaddressed was a goalpost that we were chasing. So in every category, that's how we looked at it. So that's why when lubes came in, we said, no, so what problem is it solving? Because, everybody has similar products. So there the insight was that a lot of our women customers keep talking about their mothers are suffering from, hot flashes and other things. So that's where that came in. So internally, the belief was we are breaking taboos in the category. We have to have products, that are solving unaddressed issues. And that line. We also, in a way, I think, were able to branditize a lot of unbranded categories. So like
give me an example.
like underarm sweat pads. For us, a classic example. Our realization was that, hygiene, no? So the idea was, should we do deodorant, should we do perfumes? And we said, that's not solving the problem. What was the insight? Insight was marks on the clothes give women, they feel
Unclean.
unclean.
Yeah.
Of course, it makes you feel a little uncomfortable, those marks. So
So this is basically sweat pad under a blouse. Or
yeah,
whatever.
correct. So what were they using? So they were using panty liners, right? Before, we checked what is being used. So panty liners were being put inside, and they were being used as sweat pads. And we thought that if we can explain the usage better, if we can really tell you that there is an alternate available, we can maybe become a brand that you can trust with a consistent supply and with a consistent quality. So underarm sweat pads is an example of how we branditize maybe that market. Toilet seat covers is another example, because we got into saying toilets ki kya problem hai? So within toilets pura, you have to pee, you have to poop, you want, if you're sharing a toilet with somebody. So if you have to pee, you're outside, stand and pee. If you take a dump, there's toilet seat cover. So we branditized it. So we were the only branded toilet seat cover, so to say, in that category.
And women are very particular. Like, so they will always have wet wipes. They'll always have
Correct.
like 10 things, which
Correct.
maybe like men, just because of the convenience of our apparatus,
Correct.
we don't even think about it.
Correct. So in every category, there was those open voids available. And for us, it was more about telling women that we are thinking to this level. So we were not really too much looking at the top line or the bottom line coming from that SKU. So we had fair bit of width to answer your question. At, I would say 2021-22, there'll be about 45-50 products spread across the journey. And of course, then in multiple, MLs I'm not considering, the combos I'm not considering. So we had all of those, and this is how we approach. So in our consumers' mind, I think they looked at us as something here, they understand some of my neglected needs.
Correct.
So when we came up with fashion tapes, our insight was, that there are women who are not very, and we had acquired this pepper spray brand by then. Puberty, menopause, you're going out, we were running a foundation.
Correct.
Because we were running a foundation and we were giving out cups, the insight came कि भैया pads का problem तो चलो, cups से solve हो जाएगा. But when I go out to relieve myself, there are a lot of crimes that happen against it. And then Akshay was selling Empower. He works with you. You know, so he basically trusted us with the brand, and we acquired the brand. And once we got into that safety angle, we realized what other safety issues is he facing. So pepper spray started moving for us, and we said what other safety or that discomfort can be solved. So not every girl in this office setup would not need a pepper spray, but maybe if you're not comfortable with peeping holes, you need a product. So we came up with that fashion tape. So we identified these voids, and I think consumers then started trusting us with some of these products more. And because it was the same unaddressed philosophy, this whether it's a vending machine at the airport or India's first, came up with a period tracker on WhatsApp, came from similar insight. You can't always be married to what you think the consumer needs or how the consumer should have it. Wherever the consumer is, you should be available there. So we kept moving. So that's why we were one of the earliest adopters of quick commerce. Of course, right now we might have lost a little ground there, but it wasn't even the thing. So I'm usually the first one to try anything new.
Wonderful.
Whether it's a new product, whether it's a new category, it's a
So
new.
you are almost magnetically attracted to 0 to 1 journeys.
Yeah, in everything. Correct.
Whether it's events, carpets, then within
Correct.
Pee Buddy, every new
Correct.
category,
Correct.
new channel.
Yeah.
So that ability almost looks like it was compounding and creating efficiency in your business also.
Another theory that I believe in, I think it बहुत fundamental है business में ना, so अपने आप को positive रखना है, team से touch में रखना है. अब teach not only team, then if you can create a system around keeping in touch with all the customers. Who are the customers? I think there are 4 customers, correct? One is a paying customer. How do you keep in touch with them? How do you listen to them? One is your internal customer, which is your team member. Then you have investors. Then you have your friends in media. So I think somewhere, because I was able to keep in touch with all of them through a process, I was also able to get very regular insights. So when I would go to, like my well-wishers, so 4th quadrant is my customers, well-wishers will be media and marketplaces and all the other stakeholders. Correct. And I found a way to keep in touch. So because I would go every time, my question used to be this, what is the category lacking? Yeah. What are your consumers searching for? What is
and
it?
you're also not a direct consumer. You are
Correct.
also a man. So for you, like
correct.
it requires secondary research in very deeper ways.
I think for me, we get more grace marks. कोई बात नहीं भी कर पाया तो कोई बात नहीं, लड़का कोशिश कर रहा है. So I think for me that rope is enough, that if I can just float. So in many such categories, speaking to category managers kept giving us insights. But the good thing that I'll say is, because team was also married to the vision here, we have to do unaddressed. When they got an insight, they were the first one to launch it, try it, and then come up with
you
learnings.
Empowered them.
100%. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why even after acquisition, there is Touchwood, Sirona's team has stuck. We had the lowest attrition. Our people were headhunted at double, triple the salaries, but I think the core guys never
हमने क्या
left.
होगा?
ठीक है, नहीं बिल्कुल कोशिश करो, पर हमारे यहाँ से आया कोई नहीं होगा, और जो आया होगा वो हमारा कोर टीम नहीं है, तो अब आप खुद देख लो.
No, I agree. No, because people who stick around and build, still the thing is, your team built the muscle of new category, new customer, and new content muscle. This was unique in the way you were building. So it was a valuable, outside in, it was a very valuable, especially once we started Bombay, the women's business.
Correct.
It was an extremely valuable thing that we were looking at.
Sure. Like I said, you make it sound better. For me, it was just about saying whatever was available back then, how do I make the most out of it? So I couldn't, because we hadn't raised a lot of money, we could never hire, so to say, pedigree.
Yeah.
We could never hire.
You have to coach people.
And what you have to do in the process, you have to be able to replace yourself. So I think every function today that I approach with new founders also where I'm involved, is to say, are you really making yourself replaceable? Yeah. Is the team across divisions, Yeah. And if you're able to replace yourself, then how many people at peak, we were about 70 in the office, there were 70 founders. In Sirona, आप किसको तोड़ोगे? आप एक को तोड़ोगे, 2 को तोड़ोगे, 3 को तोड़ोगे, right?
Correct.
So but everybody knew what was happening, and that happens. I think it happened because I had no other way. The only way I had to do it was that guy who's coming with me for that Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa meeting has to be so empowered that I don't need to then hire anybody else. तो यही है मेरे पास. मेरा तो गिरधर गोपाल दूसरों ना कोई. तो यही है. So इसी केस में I have to train this person. So that's how it started.
Wonderful.
And that trust, Touchwood, reaped, I think, in many ways, I think, eternally grateful and thankful to all the 4 who came in. Like I said, paying customers, internal team members, investors, well-wishers, marketplaces, Everybody went out of the way. Yaar. I think I'm just a sum total of a lot of luck, destiny, right place, right time, and persistence. The only thing that I would say I'll do it. It's difficult to tire me out.
Yeah, I know it was in the news. It's of course one of these stories in terms of acquisitions that have happened, especially in the brand D2C space, right? How did that come about? This was, I'm assuming, post-COVID or during COVID?
Post-COVID. Yeah,
Wave
post-COVID.
two के बाद
2021-22.
21-22, right? So, how did it dawn upon कि it now might be a good time to explore something which is acquisitive in nature?
Yeah.
And how did that deal happen?
So yeah, we had money in the bank, like I said. When this happened, 22, we had this FD.
10 crores.
I had another 10 crores which was supposed to come in.
Correct.
We were
18-20
on track.
करोड़ का and
आराम से
profitable
था।
company थी.
हाँ, we were, of course, कोई ऐसा वांदा ही नहीं था लाइफ में. I think हुआ ये होगा, again hindsight is 2020. तो ये and हम क्या करते हैं? हम अभी ना टीम के साथ the monthly town halls that we do. So there are few rituals, and I think there are some total of rituals that we follow. So personal ritual is about like I do write one good thing of the day every day. I ask my team also to write it because when I go back to sleep in the evening, I have to end the day on a good note. Correct. Rituals with investors, you are also on that shameless spamming list. आप reply मत करो पर मेरी तरफ से message जरूर आ जाएगा आपको कि अगर आज हमारी भैंसें घर आ गई हैं तो you will know, cows are home. So with investors, with everybody, there's a ritual that we follow. With the team member also, there's a ritual. Which is monthly, town halls where everybody would present what they did so that, even the lowest common denominator is aware of what's happening. So because this had become a very close-knit underdogs running the show, and that's again one of the reasons why I keep telling all my founders कि यार कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है बहुत ज़्यादा experience वाले लोगों को लेने के लिए नहीं है पैसे. Don't make that as an excuse. The only excuse why you're not getting it off the ground right now is because you are not aligned. आप aligned हो जाओ बाकी सब आ जाएंगे, सबको सिखा लेंगे, सबके साथ काम कर लेंगे. तो हुआ क्या कि by the time this offer came in, we were in fact in the market we had started having Series B conversations, just like that.
कितना रेस करना था आपको? 70
करोड़.
हाँ, 70 करोड़ की कंपनी at 300-400 crores, you can easily raise a 50.
आराम से कर सकते तो और वो बातें चल भी नहीं थी. इनफैक्ट
21 का तो हेडे था तो.
हाँ. और हम ठीक भी थे, हम ओके भी थे जबकि बट मुझे लगता है कि अगेन हाइंडसाइट इज 22. ऐसा नहीं कि सब.
But category में was there enough
headroom to
no was there enough tailwind in the category itself or what, like because I think category हमारे केस में हमको हमेशा ये headwind आता है कि तुम्हारी कैटेगरी छोटी है.
करेक्ट.
कि जिलेट सिर्फ 2000 करोड़ का ब्रांड है.
करेक्ट.
एंड यू आर ऑलरेडी 1/6 देयर साइज.
करेक्ट.
और कितना ही बढ़ पाओगे आप.
करेक्ट.
और हमको ये बहुत बताना पड़ता है कि जिलेट इसी सब कैटेगरी में है, हम लोग 10 और चीजें कर रहे हैं.
करेक्ट.
राइट. तो वो हमारा हेडविंड है व्हेन इट कम्स टू रेजिंग बिकॉज द फर्स्ट थिंग एन इन्वेस्टर लुक्स एट इज मार्केट कितना बड़ा है.
करेक्ट. सही कह रहे हो आप.
आपके केस में वाज दैट समथिंग दैट हैपेंड?
ऑफ कोर्स एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी वर द लीस्ट फंडेड. हमारे केस में जो आज थ्योरी में हार चढ़ते हैं लोगों को कि वेल डन, हमारे केस में उस टाइम पे वो सब पे जूते पड़ते थे, जैसे आपने बोला फोकस. सो वी कम फ्रॉम एन एरा वेयर माय फर्स्ट पेज हैड 3 brands in it. How much I was raising 2.96 crores. Only Indian Angel Network could have taken that punt. बेचारे भगवान के बच्चे.
Bodyguard, Sirona and Pee Buddy.
We had 3. And my theory was कि यार brands become category synonymous and only focus on one brand. They were not wrong. They were right. But I was able to, the deck that I made was in line with मैं कहाँ बेच सकता हूँ.
करेक्ट. और तुम्हारा कंज्यूमर को क्या चाहिए?
करेक्ट. हाँ, करेक्ट.
उनका ये था कि इन्वेस्टमेंट कहाँ पे कंपाउंड होगा.
करेक्ट.
बोथ आर फेयर पॉइंट.
बोथ आर वेरी फेयर. करेक्ट. सो बट टुडे हाउस ऑफ ब्रांड्स अ थिंग टू डू.
करेक्ट. ग्रोथ तो ही सारी है.
लोग फिर मैं मतलब इतना फनी है कि मुझे लगता है कि इसीलिए लोगों को बियॉन्ड अ पॉइंट नहीं सुनना चाहिए आपको. लाइक ऐसे कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म ले लो, डिस्ट्रक्टिव मत लो. आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ. तो शुरू में ना मैंने एक आध बंदे से बात करी, मैं पी बडी कर रहा हूँ. तो उस इन्वेस्टर का आई रिमेंबर वन वे कैजुअल कॉन्वर्सेशन. ही सेड अरे ओनली वन प्रोडक्ट, टू रिस्की. देन आई वेंट टू द सेम गाय आफ्टर फ्यू मोर मंथ्स. सर अब मेरे पास माँ है 3 है. ही सेड 3 brands, वेयर इज द फोकस. इसका कोई सही जवाब कभी नहीं मिलेगा. तो जिस चीज से आप अच्छे से रात को सो सकते हो वो करो. एंड तो हम टेलविंड्स हेडविंड्स सब देखा हमने. तो शुरू में आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट फंड रेजिंग इज ऑल्सो सिंपल गेम यार कि 100 लोग से मिलना है हमें जिसमें से 99 ना सुनने हैं. जिस तरह आप उससे अलाइन हो जाओ चीज़ हो जाती है. बिकॉज यू जस्ट नीड वन गाय टू फॉल इन लव विद यू एंड दैट गाय विल फॉल इन लव इमोशनली एंड देन रैशनलाइज. करेक्ट. कितना भी बोल लो आप.
ये इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है ना
या
कि दैट like an investor will always underwrite an emotion and instinct.
Correct.
And then find all the data points to
Correct.
validate that decision.
Correct.
I completely agree. That's how everyone thinks. Yeah.
So initially D2C brands ही नहीं थे, फिर जैसे जैसे of course Mama Earth and Boat and you and all the guys started creating categories and started finding marquee investors. So there were a lot who started at least listening to the pitches. उससे पहले था ही नहीं ना. What was a D2C brand in 2016, 17, 18, 19? There was nothing. I mean, in the sense, the thesis wasn't there. Today people are 8 years, 10 years investing into D2C. Back then it was just a 2, 3 year, 4 year old industry. So mostly headwinds. But what I've also realized is that numbers सब settle कर देते हैं यार. Eventually अगर आप scale कर रहे हो, numbers सही हैं आपके, तो चीज़ें solve हो जाती हैं. और ये TAM SAM SOM वाली तो questions को मैं जवाब नहीं देता हूँ. I believe fundamentally flawed है. क्योंकि मैं आपका पैसा आज ले रहा हूँ कि मेरे को यहाँ से आगरा जाना है, अगर 200 किलोमीटर है, मुझे 50, मेरे को सिर्फ 200 मीटर दिख रहा है. Mental map मेरे पास पूरा है, but I can only see 200 meters. I need money to know that I can achieve this goalpost, but I'm 100% sure by the time I reach here, the goalpost would shift and I'll go for bigger. Correct? So बन जाएंगे बड़े businesses. हमारी category के अंदर, this is what my argument was at one point. I said, toilet in itself. You put Harpic, Sharpic, everybody into it. Periods, it's not only Stay Free Whisper, you put everybody into
Correct.
it. We have sexual wellness, we have women's safety, and everything
Big
else.
markets, yeah.
They're big markets, I think that investors just looking at that confidence, are you that guy?
Yeah.
There's just that limited amount of money here.
And you want to back the winning horse.
Correct, you want to back. So I can't blame them at all. So in our case, there've been headwinds, there've been tailwinds, but I think we've just been lucky that because we were never able to raise more money, that became a moat.
Because
strength.
because you showed frugality, efficiency, and you actually built a very sustainable business.
दिखाया नहीं, ऑप्शन ही नहीं था. वही रियलिटी थी बॉस. जब है ही इतने जो इतने से है पैसे खर्च तुम पे करूं कैसे, तो इतने से ही तो थे ना डूड. तो वो थोड़े से पैसों में वही रास्ते ढूंढे जो उससे अचीव हो सकते थे. बर्न करना ऑप्शन ही नहीं था, लग्जरी नहीं थी. करेक्ट. तो इट वाज अ ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज. इनफैक्ट दैट एग्जिट के टाइम पे भी इट बिकेम अ ह्यूज एज because I had raised smaller monies at smaller valuation. So if a guy got a 6x, it was a very good outcome.
Yeah. How many people
Correct.
don't understand this? My goodness, the number of founders. Yesterday I had a chat. मेरे को dilute नहीं करना. अरे एक बात बता. तेरा धंधा 40 लाख महीने का है.
Correct.
तू क्या डाइल्यूशन की बात कर रहा है? बहुत छोटा सा धंधा है. ये 4-5 करोड़ का धंधा है तेरा. क्या what are you holding on to?
Correct.
And more than that, let's say चलो ठीक है तुमको नहीं डाइल्यूट. ये सब पढ़ते हैं ना, सब लोग आके पॉडकास्ट देख रहे हैं ना अभी. इक्विटी इज द मोस्ट एक्सपेंसिव वे टू रेज मनी. ये सब है अभी, ठीक है. तो इक्विटी नहीं देनी चाहिए. इक्विटी, अरे मेरे भाई, लेकिन तू अगर 100 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन पे रेज कर रहा है.
Correct.
और तेरी एक्चुअल वैल्यूएशन आज के डेट में 40 करोड़ है.
Correct.
इसका मतलब है कि
तो
अगला आदमी तभी पैसे बनाएगा जब तुम 40 से 100 पे पहुंच के फिर और आगे जाओ.
Correct.
तो you now are growing. So you have basically sold someone a share
Correct.
worth 100 rupees at 300 rupees.
Correct.
तो वो 200 रुपए का प्रेशर
Cover
तो
करना
उसी
है.
दिन आ गया ना तुम्हारे सर के ऊपर. ओवर वैल्यूइंग इज सच अ फाउंडर अनफ्रेंडली थिंग.
Correct. So for us, it was a blessing in disguise that we
Correct,
were so
absolutely.
undervalued. That when I remember picking the call to talk to this first seed investors who were making 20x, right?
उन्होंने जो 20 करोड़ पे डाला था.
जो 20 जो निकले जो यार पहले तो आपने 2-4-5 करोड़ पे भी उठा लिया था ना. मेरे को वैल्यूएशन का तो थीसिस ही नहीं था कोई.
Correct.
इट वाज पार्टनरशिप. आज आप वैल्यूएशन की बात कर रहे हो. बैक देन अगर आपने मेरे को धंधा शुरू करना होता 2010-11 में, तो हम बात करते पार्टनरशिप. क्या मनी इज योर्स, वर्क इज माइन. 75-25 कर लो या 10% प्रॉफिट तू ले लियो, व्हाटएवर दैट इज प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग. करेक्ट.
10% प्रॉफिट.
करेक्ट.
आजकल तो 100 करोड़ प्री पे हो रहे हैं.
तो मैं बोल रहा हूं. तो अभी क्या है कि उस वक्त वो एडवांटेज हो गया. देन आयन ऑल्सो केम इन एट लोअर वैल्यूएशन 12-15 करोड़ पे. तो 100 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन पे निकलना वाज गुड. बट अगर कोई 100 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन उठाया तो आपको 150 पे नहीं निकलेगा. करेक्ट. तो इन आवर केस इट वाज सच अ ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज दैट वी रेज वेरी स्मॉल मनीज.
And what is the maximum valuation you raised at before the acquisitive situation?
100.
Oh wow.
I think we were just very lucky. I'm happy that the traditional guys did not have a thesis. I'm happy that I had 3 brands because I think the outcome would have been very very different. So to just tell you, तो हुआ क्या, तो हमारे केस में because ये rituals थे of sharing things with the team, we shared very openly with the team about this offer also that came in. We said यार इतना पैसा है, इतना पैसा आने वाला है, but eventually किस लिए खेल रहे हैं?
Correct.
The day you've taken equity, you are आप
On a clock.
you're on a clock.
Correct.
अब एक कंपनी आपकी नहीं है, आप भी एक शेयर होल्डर हो. If you see it from that lens, that at some point you have to give an exit to the guys who've given you money. ठीक है, आप delete हो जाओ, but that's not the at least
तो
I
देना
don't.
बनता है. Like वो तो as a founder that's a responsibility also.
और करना भी चाहिए ना यार. अभी कल आपने कहीं पैसा लगाया, आपको पैसा वापस नहीं मिलेगा तो आपको कैसा लगेगा? आप खुद देखो ना, आप भी इक्विटी मार्केट में लगाते हो, रियल एस्टेट में लगाते हो, आप कई बार अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट्स में पैसा लगाते हो. इफ द डेवलपर डजंट गिव यू द प्लॉट और दैट फ्लैट, हाउ विल यू फील?
100%.
सो और सोना भी जरूरी है. सो इफ यूर अ फाउंडर, यू कैन स्लीप वेरी वेल कि यार आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ मनी इन द बैंक ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स एंड कस्टमर्स एंड आई डोंट केयर इफ टुमारो आई डोंट रिटर्न इट. गुड फॉर यू, मोर पावर टू यू. बट इफ यू द अदर एंड ऑफ द स्पेक्ट्रम विच सेल्स कि यार कि मेरे को ना कॉल नहीं चाहिए कल को, मुझे अपने बारे में बुरा नहीं सुनना, ये नहीं सुनना, तो आपको पैसा तो वापस करना ही है.
Correct.
So team was aligned that at some point, whether through an IPO, whether through a bigger acquisition or whatever, we'll have to take this call. So I shared my reasoning with them, and touchwood, they all were able to see what I was trying to do. And for me personally, it was money coming in, family standard of living getting better right now.
It was 100% acquisition.
It was 100 part 2 acquisition.
Okay.
We were supposed to run the business for another couple of years, which I was very happy to do because I knew that I still have the headroom. I knew कि मैं 150-200 करोड़ का धंधा बना सकता हूँ, बहुत आराम से बना सकता
उस वैल्यू पे आपको अगला
उसका मिलता मेरा एग्जिट. करेक्ट.
तो so this is something for the viewers also to understand is when you build a business, right? And by the way, I don't know whether you know this, but Good Glam had made an offer to acquire Bombay Shaving Company also, right? And it was a good offer, but by then we had gotten our Series C का term sheet.
Okay.
2021
ठीक है.
की similar time काटे हैं.
Of course.
और फिर the board then got together and decided that do we sell
Yeah, correct.
and cash,
Correct.
or do we build the
More
business
further.
out?
Correct.
And तब मालाबार hedge fund का आया था.
nice.
Roughly 70-80 crore का term sheet.
Wow.
And we knew that if we continue the raise process with the banker said कि यार 150-200 crore का we'll be able to do a nice thing,
Wow.
big series C.
Correct.
So बहुत ही position of privilege था, but it was seriously considered, I think, with Darpan and all कि यार करना है नहीं करना है, etc.
Correct.
etc.
Correct.
But I think for the viewers, you have to realize that a company is built with capital and people, right? So investors put in certain amount of money, let's say 100 crores over a period of time or 50 crores or whatever. So that's the money that's gone in. All of that money has some return expectation. Some of that money has come in at, let's say, 5 crore valuation. Some of it has come at 25 crores, some of it has 50 crore, etc. And then the final number is a singular number where the acquirer will, let's say, buy out 51% at the very least, because then that business then becomes a subsidiary formally. So the business revenues consolidate in the holding company revenue, which is the acquired revenues. And the remaining 49% or 40%, 30%, whatever it is, that is then there is a path to acquire that okay, today the business is, let's say, at this run rate. Tomorrow, if the business at this run rate into, let's say, a valuation multiplier, we'll buy 15% at this valuation and the last 15% at this valuation. So the seller and the buyer sit together, agree to this kind of thing, and then there's a call put where the buyer says that you have to sell the business to me if we want, and the seller also says that you have to buy the business from me because I don't want to be stuck with like a 20% minority in a business where I don't have control. So both of them have options to make sure that the deal goes through, and then over a period of time, hopefully the business gets integrated, the teams get integrated, and then creates much more value for the acquirer. That's usually how it happens. But then this happens over a period of many years, and it's kind of there's a spectrum of outcomes that can happen. So yeah, that's just something for you guys to know before we get into this conversation. So how did that?
So similar position where we thought that we can raise more, we can scale more. But I think what I had realized was that as far as my adding value to the business was concerned, at the end of even this 2 years, the option was to to continue in some form or the other. But I realized that I'm that 0 to 1 hustle. Some of the calls were now going to be around more scale, correct? Because anybody who's acquiring would want to run it the way they would run. So I shared it with the team. We have two options. We can do this again. We have money for the next 2 years already in the bank, and we're building it aram se. But if we do this, then 4 things will happen. And I explained it to them that there are 4 stakeholders to this deal. If I do this, I'll ensure that our ESOPs, which was many people did not even have ESOPs, because when I hired, I hired people on salaries, because they're not the guys who understood ESOPs very, very well. But between me and Mohit, we had allocated a a portion that we will give this to our employees. So I told them, just see, as of today, this is the allocation, and this is where I've allocated these many shares to you. As of today, they are worth this much. And if I sign the deal, 100% in next 2 years, you will get this much of money. For many people here, it was life-changing money from at that point. Correct. There's some people in warehouse also who are on 10, 15, 20,000 salary who would stand to make 5, 10 lakhs.
That's a lot.
Which is considerable,
Yeah.
from their standpoint.
In my view, the moment there is an outcome that
Yeah.
is 4 to 5 times your annual salary,
Yeah, yeah.
it is
Shifts
a
your
step
orbit.
change.
Correct. It shifts your orbit.
Yeah.
So I said so, and for some team members they were making 40, 50, 60 L, whatever. So it was still money. I said so we get this money now. My investors will make money. So the range was 6x to 20x. in
That's
terms of
crazy.
So he said what it does is that whatever we have to start again, it becomes good. Third, back then, at least the way we were able to see why we should do it was Good Glam had a lot of My Glam had a lot of offline presence, and that is strength that I didn't have. My Glam had a lot of D2C strength. Darpan had given examples of how with PopXO their CACs came down. And I don't understand burning as a business. So I thought I'll be able to maybe, be
latch
able
on
to
to that.
learn. And I thought brand also in a way will become immortal because online you can't beat us. You couldn't touch us.
Yeah.
In the sense because not out of arrogance, but because we were very sincere. We were only looking at numbers very, very sincerely. If there's a fill rate, the fill rate is Bible. If there is returns, there is Bible. If there are reviews, that's Bible. If there is monthly catch up with the guy, it's a Bible. So there was Bible being followed. So you couldn't tire us out. Correct. So we said this game we are playing best. Those two we don't know. These guys know the brand. We'll become creators of a brand that will live forever.
And Good Glam also had like a very interesting
Correct.
thing going, right?
Correct.
With Darpan, like, My Glam was taking off, the category was taking
Correct.
off, and they found this way of getting in, what is that?
Content to commerce.
Scoop Boop,
Miss
PopXO,
Malini. Correct.
like Miss Malini, all of this
Correct.
content,
Correct.
the idea was great because
Correct.
he was getting eyeballs like nobody else.
Correct. And that was the reason. I said, so what? So what I explained to them was, so ye 4 quadrants hai. Team makes money, investors make money, which is a good thing for us, whatever we want to do. Brand goes forward, and brand ke andar they're saying content to commerce. And I was trying to explain that if tomorrow we want to generate demand from stores, and if you want to get customers to our website, what are we going to do?
Correct.
I said, I'll be giving money to Meta, Google. That says the money will go. Rather than that, they're saying they already have the traffic, and they're iconic brands. At least, Scoop Whoop had a great
100%.
legacy for content they've created. Miss Malini from the Bollywood standpoint and all the influencer standpoint was very well known portal. And PopXO also. So we thought, if they're able to bring their CACs, we will be able to continue with the brand. So it's very good for the company also. And fourth, as founders also, I think my family will lead a better life today as opposed to 5 years later. 50, 100 crores right now as opposed to 500 crores 10 years later was the call.
150 to 100 crores is a lot of money.
Correct. I mean, the sense, the point was
Way more
50
than the-
right now or 500 10 years later. So I
Yeah.
said it's the same thing. All 4 of us have to answer. For investors also,
Yeah.
right now maybe they're making 5x. Maybe after 10 years they'll make 20x.
Correct.
But 5x today.
Correct.
With you also, maybe in 3 years, 4 years, I'll be able to do an ESOP buyback because we understand liquidation, it's not always in our control. Secondaries are not in our control.
Correct. Absolutely.
And that's what I think employees should understand. And I keep sharing it so often that if you have a good founder, you can be rest assured that he's far more desperate for you to make money than you are.
Correct. Absolutely.
And so you have to trust that equity. You have to trust that asset. We are parting away with something that could have come to us. Even if it's 1 crore,
Yeah.
even if it's 1 lakh, it's it could be my, if I don't give it to you, it's my
Equity.
My
Yeah.
equity today, right? So I shared with them that my intent of course is to make money, and of course
That's very commendable, na, Deep. Like, because getting in a town hall setting with a large team,
Yeah.
getting them involved in a decision that is strategic, confidential, sensitive is something I would like. It requires bravery, and I think it's rare. Most people wouldn't have done it.
I think it's stupidity, but
The line between stupidity and like stupid and courageous is very blurry.
Very
but
blurred.
in this case, I would kind of
Correct.
lean it on the side of courageous. It's very
But that
good
is
thing
one
to
of the
do.
reasons why Shantanu, I said that our team members won't leave. For us, for 5 years, this had become the norm. When we raised our angel round, everybody knew. When we raised our bridge round, everybody knew. When we were launching a product, everybody knew. And a lot of product would get leaked also. Some people who would leave would tell the competition what we are doing. But I thought it's the same thing with consumers, right? What I tell, our role here is not to investigate and then solve. Our role is to solve and then investigate in everything. With my team members, I will tell you, and then maybe if it goes wrong, I'll figure it out. But first, I'll tell you.
Correct.
With my customer complaint, I'll first replace and then I'll investigate.
Correct.
What that does is, out of 10, maybe 5 times you get fooled. But वो तो सबके समझदार से समझदार लोगों के साथ होता है यार.
So the goodwill compounding is
Correct.
huge.
So that decision making across the town halls helped. So for us, the decision making was fairly easy then because I told them this is where we are. Mentally, I think it was very tough because as founder, my identity got taken. For the first time, I would say that I had started identifying with this category a lot. I loved it, whether it was the foundation, whether it was the period tracking app, whether it was the airport project, like even the airport project, we fought a lot. We said, no, yeah, we will keep all we should not only keep pads.
Yeah.
We should give her all the range. So in many ways, there was that void, but I think hindsight couldn't have done it any other way.
Wow. And how is that last
Yeah.
two years been? It's been in the news, etc. So
Correct.
I would love to, because I think
Yeah.
founders having, and I'm a big proponent, we spoke about this before, I think many times we don't have conversations that are difficult to have. We don't say things that are difficult to say because we feel, what if it breaks this equilibrium of propriety
Correct.
that we seem to have maintained in our world of
Correct.
reputation? And
Correct.
so, but I think we do a lot of disservice to the world
By not-
if
yeah,
we
correct.
don't say what we truly
Correct.
believe, right? And I think it'll be lovely for me to, I know you don't have to share things that are confidential or
course.
still, but as much as you can, I would love to like kind of get the emotional sense of, because no marriage happens with the view that it's
Yeah.
going to, there will be conflict, but
Of course.
you're going to solve it, right?
Yeah.
And no acquisition happens without there being real handshake on what is, like even for Good Glam, they were like, boss, we're buying this asset for whatever, X 100 crores, and this is going to be 10x 100 crores.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That's what we're
Correct.
going to build out of it through our content and
Correct.
offline and all that, right? And sometimes it does well, sometimes it doesn't do well, sometimes it takes
Yeah.
longer than you imagine and so on. But end of the day, if people are aligned,
Yeah.
but in this case, I think there was divergence that
Of
was
course.
more than planned. But talk about what happened and what
Yeah.
what did you learn as individually at a corporate level and so on.
I would say, so my expectation, like I said, was, that we'll be able to scale the brand through the content engine and maybe offline. I think it was wishful thinking. Did it play out to the T? No. But was it because of any wrongdoing or misdoings at the end of Good Glams? I wouldn't even say that. I think it was a similar thing. They also thought it worked in one category, it'll work in all. It didn't work to the T in our category because we were a very high trust brand. So it's just not about showing my logo or showing my product anywhere and the consumer will switch. I think as far as the transaction is concerned, if anybody is doing this, I would now suggest that it's best to do these. If two startups are coming together, my only piece of advice is let it be just straight
One shot.
up, one shot acquisition. You don't know what will change at your end and what will change at the other person's end, And we are both very dynamic organisms, that way, If today you're selling your business to the larger FMCG guys, they have a stable balance sheet. They have stable revenues. They have stable investor board. They have stable practices. Here, one fast-growing guy is trying to acquire another fast, let's say not at the same pace, but we are also going fast.
Correct.
So cultures are still yet to set in both to the T. And reality can change overnight. So I remember when the deal happened, market was very, very up. And then, of course, the Russia war.
In terms of the transaction value, it was like 50% in the first go.
You can say, yeah, it was similar to that. 100 crores was upfront, in which we were able to offer an exit to all our investors.
So investors got out on day zero.
All our angel investors were out. Angel seed upfront. My Series A investor, because they'd just come in.
So they also wanted more upside later on.
Upside, and I think they were getting some money, but Touchwood, Iron then eventually got their exit, and they also had a very good outcome because they came in at, I just said, at around 100 crore valuation, and 450 crore valuation is when the exit happened within a year and a half.
Correct.
So even their outcome was good. So they decided to stay back. And of course, we founders had to earn it way through. So
And founder in ESOP was like half done and then half was.
So what I did was with the ESOPs, I said we were supposed to get money in two tranches, tranche 1 and tranche 2. At the end of year 1 was tranche 1, at the end of year 2 was tranche 2.
Correct.
I ensured that we were getting proportionate for our ESOPs. So I divided ESOPs into two tranches. First was I think 5-6 crores, whatever. And second was also similar.
Okay.
So we tranched it out like that
Okay.
for our ESOPs.
ESOPs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, if the only advice I would say is that if the two fast startups, it's better to do, it's easier for both, correct? It's very, very good because your realities can change. I mean, who would have thought that there'll be initially there was a lot of international interest in the Indian market, but there was a Russia-Ukraine war that happened.
Correct.
We had just gotten through with that, and then of course
Israel.
And of course everything matters. Everything affects everything.
Correct.
So none of these things can be seen in isolation.
Correct.
You know, if the interest rates are impacted in the US, it has an impact in the funds.
Immediately.
You know, who have LPs.
We are 2
from
quarters
US.
away from the US Fed rate.
Correct.
Indian private markets are 2 quarters away from a Fed rate hike or
Correct.
cut, right? So, and it's 2 quarters is not a lot.
Correct. Yeah.
You know?
And you're not stable, right? So you can't. यार क्या course correction एक 1 quarter के अंदर life बदल जाती है यार.
Correct.
मतलब यहाँ पे like in 2 quarters, quick commerce within our categories changed the game for so many brands. There were brands which are written off in D2C, working confectionaries in बिकेंगी, ice creams in बिकेंगी. Look at the way. You know,
Crazy.
it's like, dude, it's the new buzzword.
हमारी बात करो आप कि अपने इन आर बिजनेसेस फॉर एग्जांपल 100-150 करोड़ 200 करोड़ तक आप खींच सकते हो ऑनलाइन.
बहुत आराम से.
उसके बाद ऑफलाइन जाने से का
Correct.
द होल 3-4 ईयर
Correct.
बैक दिस वाज 100-150 करोड़ से ऊपर आप ऑनलाइन बना ही नहीं सकते. आपको ऑफलाइन जाना पड़ेगा, राइट? मामाअर्थ वाज अ बिग एक्सेप्शन, बट मोस्टली इवन मामाअर्थ हैज स्टार्टेड गोइंग ऑफलाइन एट 300-400 crores, right? But now what is happening is because of quick commerce, suddenly you're like, boss, we don't need to go offline with quick commerce. अगर मेरे को लातूर या फिर हुबली में बेचना है,
Correct.
तो ब्लिंकिट का दुकान तो आ ही जाएगा वहाँ पे इन द
सही
नेक्स्ट
बात है.
3-4 months. So I just have to wait for Blinkit
Correct.
to get there and make sure fill rate happens. So now I think in our spaces like personal care, beauty, hygiene, etc., food also, getting to like a 500-600 crore brand with like 70-80% online is not a pipe dream anymore.
Of course.
It's not a pipe dream anymore.
Correct. Because demand तो है ना यार. Demand is just shifting. And whether we like it or not, who doesn't like convenience?
Correct.
You know, and of course you can check today morning I ordered Bombay shaving.
Or you should not have. We have a full hamper for you today.
No, यार ये after shave spray में क्यों होता है? बताओ.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question because in the pour, a lot of people लोगों को आदत नहीं है ऐसे करके उसको लेने की.
अच्छा.
So how do you do it then?
Very
So
interesting.
what people do is they spray on the neck, like the jaw, without it getting close to the eye. Keep the bottle down and then use their hands and do that.
Very
Or
nice.
they actually spray in their hands.
Correct.
Keep it on the side and do this and do this. Most people actually spray in their hands.
Correct. Because मेरा तो face आपको पूरा आपसे ज़्यादा face ratio है ना. So I'm just saying that habits have changed. So today morning I was shaving and I ran out of the charcoal face wash that I use, and I'll show you. It's not because I'm on this show. I bought it 4 months ago. 4 months last year. 428 grams.
Foam. Foam. Or
Foam.
face
Foam.
wash?
Foam. 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 Sorry.
Okay,
Foam.
You shave every day.
Every day, sir. Yeah. Flash. Natural flash ऐसे ही आता है. Every day I shave, yes. So, but habit changing की बात कर रहा था. वो हो गया ना यार. अभी if earlier if Deep Bajaj ran out of shaving foam, he'd have to go down and get it.
Okay.
Today, by the time I was done shaving, I had my aftershave delivered.
Correct.
By the time I was just done shaving, I had the last fill from my last box. I ordered a new foam and I ordered a new aftershave. And it came before I was done shaving. Correct. And I usually don't take more than 7 minutes to shave. तो यार वो बिहेवियर चेंज हो गया.
बाजू वाली बिल्डिंग में रहते हो.
Correct. वो ऐसा नहीं ना एलबी आके नहीं देके जाता है. तो वो सिस्टम ऐसा है कि यार वो बिहेवियर तो चेंज हो गया ना, राइट? सो यू आर राइट यार कि टुडे क्रिएटिंग 500-700 crore brands online is not a big deal because what you're doing is that demand already exists in offline. You're just bringing it.
I met the CEO, and I know we are going away from the acquisition discussion. Will come in. I met the CEO of a 12 to 13,000 crore revenue business. You can imagine the size in China. Guess how much of their business comes online? This is a very, very like 100-year, 200-year-old kind of company.
I would say maybe marginal.
So Unilever, most of them are like in the 20-30 range.
Yeah.
These guys are at the 80% range.
What are you saying?
80%. He like, my strategy is 80% online and 5 cities of China. 5 cities offline, 80% online.
Wow.
Crazy, right? At that scale.
Wow.
And China is now, people are just buying everything online.
Wow.
So I think that India will even get, quick commerce
Correct.
will kind of accelerate that a lot more. Our equilibrium towards online will now start moving from this 4-5% of the retail market
Correct.
to possibly 15-20% very quickly because
Correct.
of these 3 guys. And everywhere, Country Delight has now entered the quick commerce space.
And rightly so.
Reliance is doing it. 4,000 दुकानें बोल रहे 4,000 दुकानें उनको डार्क स्टोर कन्वर्ट कर देंगे. तुम
Overnight.
ऑर्डर करो 2 घंटे में आ जाएगा, आधे घंटे में आ जाएगा.
Correct.
So
और वो पहले हो रहा था. आप देखो ऐसा नहीं था. But the only thing was you couldn't track it. Earlier also, when I was in Saket, I used to stay in Saket, and we had one Neil chemist, तो वो नील केमिस्ट के यहाँ फोन जाता था. नील केमिस्ट का लड़का जब रूट पे निकलेगा तो आपको सामान आपको डिलीवर कर देगा. That's how it used to happen, right? Today, so that demand which is offline has only come on your mobile.
Correct.
So it is not, initially when people, there's a brand in which I'd invested, and I was talking to an investor, and they said, "Yeah, quick commerce is no proof of, it's not an MVP." I said, "What is wrong with you?"
I swear, yeah.
I said, "How can you even say this? I mean, just hear yourself again. You know what you're saying is, it's akin to saying in 2012, 13 कि online में India में कोई नहीं खरीदेगा."
Correct.
Boss, whether you like it or not, that behavior shift has happened.
Correct.
Today, you do not want to tell your driver or your mundu to go and get anything for you. That replacement has happened from an unorganized sector to organized. What Urban Clap did and all the other guys.
In fact, I feel quick commerce is a far better proxy for
correct.
MVP than Amazon Flipkart.
100% correct.
Because Amazon Flipkart में तो inventory is unlimited.
Correct.
ये लोग तो बहुत ही शार्पली रखते हैं ना, दुकान तो छोटी है इनकी.
Correct.
2000 स्क्वायर फुट की दुकान है, तो बोलेंगे कि यार अगर कोई कैटेगरी है,
Yeah.
भुजिया है.
Correct.
तुम ब्लिंकिट पे भुजिया ढूंढ रहे हो, हल्दीराम, बीकानो, बीकाजी के बाद तुमको चौथी भुजिया दिखाने की जरूरत नहीं है.
Correct.
तो वो आदमी बोलेगा मेरे को 4-5 ही भुजिया चाहिए. तो आई फील क्विक
Correct.
कॉमर्स इज एक्चुअली मूविंग द पावर बैक टू लार्जर ब्रांड्स.
Correct.
It will be better for larger brands than it is for like
that even I think.
That you'll build a brand on quick commerce. जैसे तुमने अपन ने तो Amazon Flipkart पे बनाया ना brands.
Correct.
आजकल वो है नहीं.
Correct.
But I don't agree with that investor. You are absolutely right.
No, now they're coming back, no, because in 1 year that brand has scaled from 0 to 70 crores only on quick commerce.
What are you saying?
Correct. So
what category is this?
Electronics though, but there are many examples like that now today, which is so easy for us to show that behavior has shifted. So I think name of the game is wherever consumer is वहाँ चले जाओ. अपना दिमाग beyond a point मत लगाओ.
Consumer वहाँ पे है और तुम्हारा margin protected है.
Correct.
तो बहुत margin को erode मत करो, लेकिन consumer है, acquire हो रहा है, scale करो, like scale. Why the fuck would you put money in scaling when these guys are putting in the kind of money in scaling ना?
And consumer is there, boss.
Correct.
बात खत्म हो गया ना. इतना दिमाग लगाना ही क्यों है यार? मतलब क्यों हर चीज को इतना intellectualize करना है, boss? Simple है. That customer is there, just be there. Correct. And play to your strengths. If you're very good at meta, go there.
Correct.
I am not. I understand marketplaces. Consumer is there.
Correct. But coming back to the acquisition, I think so. Then there was this period in the middle where you were.
Yeah.
The first tranche was done. Now you were kind of building the business. Now, how was it to be a part of I know the Good Glam kind of became the good company.
My Glam became Good Glam.
And what did they had like
the Good Creator Co and all that. They had 3 divisions.
Like multiple
brands,
companies, and I think Mohit, Naiya, you,
Priyanka for Poppy.
Priyanka, like a lot of founders kind of founder. How was that collection of kind of each of you were like alphas in your own businesses, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But suddenly you guys came together and was it easy? Not easy? Like I think Mensa is doing it in their own way.
Correct. I would say that this is a marriage. So how important is dating should be practiced strictly on those terms only. That this is a long term relationship. In our case, honestly, we didn't really feel a lot of integration because I was very clear that till the time we exit and my kids get money and my investors get money, we'll run it the way we are running it.
Yeah. The structure changes, but everything else remains the same.
Structure also doesn't change for me. And there was some thesis, right? We said that we don't believe, we can't afford to, because there's some money that had come into the company. That should have lasted us 2 years, right? Because
primary वाला.
Yeah, of course. जो primary थोड़ा आया था. तो we said यार तो वो पैसा इन channel पे जाएगा. इनमें से 2 channel में आप अच्छे, you do those. Whatever I understand, I'll do it from my office. That culture cannot go anywhere.
Change.
So for the first 2 years, honestly, I didn't feel anything of the larger group.
On ground.
On ground. Impact us. It didn't impact us. Wherever we needed help, it was available. But 80% of our business was coming from marketplaces, which is being 100% controlled by us. So there was nothing. It was only after year 1 when the transition started to happen, we started giving 1 division, is when the interaction increased. After 2 years, the teams moved. And
physically, the office moved.
The office moved, correct. Yeah. That's
a big one.
That's a big one. Yeah. I mean, for me, since when the office moved, I was done. Then I didn't go to that office because I didn't feel that was my turf. It wasn't my place.
And this was like intercity or was this?
Intercity, yeah. No, within Gurgaon. No, it was Gurgaon to Vasant Kunj. So then teams started moving out of their office, and personally, I think that's something that I would love to work on. I should have been able to blend, but I think I didn't see that as my place. So, but teams moved and they're still working, touch wood. So they're still working out of their office.
And are you now a stakeholder in that business at all?
No, it's a complete exit.
Okay.
Though we did invest a little in My Glam once we got the first cash out, so we put some money there. So we are little stakeholders. But as far as transaction is concerned, there is nothing that we'll continue with Sirona on.
How does that feel, man?
Bittersweet. And I think it's that loss of identity, of course, does happen. Because what do? I don't do anything right now. So and to be able to
people like 50-100 crores in the bank.
Yeah.
A reputation of being an exited founder in the space. Multi-100 crore exit. Like you can do podcasts and angel investing and.
I have to be as good as you. No,
But I feel like the pipe for someone like me, the pipe dream is that the team finds a home, the company kind of grows with more capital and more people and more whatever. And then I have infinite autonomy and freedom to do what I want when I want and not to. But
Correct.
Is that as much fun as it sounds?
Yeah, maybe you'll be able to do it. मैं तो नहीं कर पाया. I think मेरे केस में ये कि I still like the action. I missed my team a lot. I think it was the most difficult part was to not have a daily schedule, and I'm still grappling with it to figure out. And that's why, these few startups where I've invested, I think.
You're hungry for work.
Of course. क्या करूँगा यार? Correct. Now I understand. My dadi used to say, ना वो खाली दिमाग शैतान का घर होता है. So I'm like, dude, I can't be looking at it. Paint खराब है घर का.
But and going back to the carpet businesses.
I love that business. It's fun to sell carpets. And
Rashi is going to have a lot. We're going to tag her on these moments. कि ये exactly देखो आप कैसे है.
Of course I dream. मेरे को रात को सपने आते हैं गलीचे के यार. कालीन कि मैं उठ गया रात को 12 बजे कई बार कि यार that flying carpet.
No, but is it something that you're finding a sense of purpose with these 40, 50, 60 angel investments that you've done?
Yeah, with few of them, yes. I think it's bringing me back to normalcy. From abyss, it's bringing it back because you have a goalpost shift होता ही रहेगा. And I think for me, I envy what you're doing. The only envy, by the way. I don't think it was ever the competition. That's not how I saw it. You were always somebody that one would look up to because again, this is taking the road less traveled. कि यार कोई पॉडकास्ट से हमारा कोई धंधा on Excel sheet तो नहीं चलेगा.
Correct.
But still doing it because you believed in it and it's paying off, right?
Yeah.
So would love to, like I said, be in a position where I keep doing it because exit, I think, no matter how, at least for me, as glamorous as it sounds, wasn't something that I would say I would want to do again. So next one that I'll do to build a Bombay shaving company. कि यार मैं 20 साल बाद शांति यही करूँगा यार मज़ा आ रहा है. Why rock the boat?
But life-changing amount of money hitting the bank in one shot.
Correct, of course, yes.
How long did that euphoria last? Did you go and kind of buy an expensive car, expensive house, like kind of
सफारी के बाद
10,000 रुपए EMI for esteem से थोड़ा
अलग हो गया. नहीं यार, of course but I don't know. So I don't manage money. I think मैं अपने आप को बहुत अच्छे से जानता हूँ. I think I love startups. So I just took one kitty and I said this is the amount that I'll put in startups because I want to do what somebody did for me to these startups. So I'll take some funds and I've taken some of them where I'm happily spending time. Money wise, yeah, because I don't manage it, I don't even know that's in my account. So it's Mohit and Rashi. They're the ones who decide what is to be done. And so that's where it is. Does it feel good? It absolutely does feel well that you're able to provide some things to your family.
This is like generational wealth, yeah. Like
no, I don't know generational wealth, but I think it's the standard of living. The things that were important for you, you're able to do that now as opposed to 5 years
without
later.
even thinking and without even like much effort. Or
so it does help, but is it is that where it ends all? I don't think so. I think next one that whatever I'll build, I would love to stick around and build Shanti se. So that's why what you're doing is so incredible. So does life change? Not for the kind of person that I am. There's no, I think, halo around my back here, exited founder or something. It did solve a few things which were important at that stage.
Oh, the young dad and
Correct.
Yeah. You seem to be in great shape. You're always shining, but now I know the secret to your shining is. I think it's great to see. Touch wood, I think great to see such a like. Also, you're someone who smiles easy.
Yeah.
You know that it's people who take themselves too seriously all the time. Na, वो भी थोड़ा ऐसा लगता है कि यार you're smiling. You like even this conversation is like so relaxed, and I think That's what people have to realize, that whatever happens, headwinds, tailwinds, acquisition, nahi hua, fundraise, nahi hua, whatever, right? End of the day, the person like
Correct.
is just like calm and positive and doesn't take themselves too seriously.
Correct.
Like again, Ustad Zakir Hussain is such a classic example of that,
Correct.
right? He was so childlike and playful with his instrument.
Correct.
He was a magician, but
Correct.
I think the child in him never went away, and I think
Correct.
that's hopefully entrepreneurs build businesses with that kind of. And you teach that to a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, buddy.